What is up, my fellow live streamers? How are you doing this fine weekend? I'm Christian Karasevich. I'm the content marketing manager at StreamYard. And again, this is live stream reviews. I think this is the 5th episode. So before I bring on Leticia Campbell, I just want to hear, where are you tuning in from? So a couple questions. Where are you tuning in from? So leave a comment on that. And then in addition to that, I want to hear if you're running a live stream, and I hope you are, because that's the point of the show. I want to hear what your live stream is about. So what I mean by that is, hey, you know what? I'm doing live streaming for churches, for example, or I'm doing live streaming for fitness, or, if it's if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm doing it for, marketing, like for the marketing industry. Tell us that. We want to hear what you're doing it for. And again, as always, this is the show. It's just for you. So we want you to bring in, we want to hear your questions. So we're going to, when we get to the point here in a few minutes, I'm going to post a link, and I want you to join us backstage where we can bring you live and we can talk about who you are, what your business is about, and if you have any questions, what those are. I want to also give a shout out to my friend Melanie Howe, who's also joining me. I worked with her. Sorry for being late here this morning, but we were working with my camera, trying to make some adjustments to it, and it's looking. I think it's looking really good, but you need to tell me how good it looks. If it looks good, if it needs some adjustments, but let me know. So we basically just set the stream up for the camera for live streaming. So with that, I'm going to bring on Leticia Campbell. Leticia, great to have you back for, what is this, episode 5?
Yes, episode 5. Yes.
I know you and I talked before the show, and we talked about we want to lead the show off with like a question for our viewers, and do you remember what that was maybe?
Well, the question was a lot that has to do with sharing and getting more people to come to your live broadcast. I know that's always the number one question when people are like, how can I get more viewers? How can I get more people onto my live show? So if that resonates with any of you guys who are watching and tuning in, please just let us know in the chat if that's something that you feel that you are challenged with right now. And also come onto the panel. Let's talk about it.
Definitely. And, and what we mean by that is, you'll hear a lot of people that they'll say, hit the go live button, just push the go live button, buy all this equipment. And the thing is, that's bad advice. It's bad advice because, it's good in the sense that it gets you to go live. Great. But, when you make the investment into like the equipment and you're just going live, you're just going through the motions necessarily. You're not doing the other things that you're going to need to do to bring in an audience.
That's right.
And so
you got to have a plan. Yeah, you got to have a plan.
Yeah. And promotion is a very important part of that plan.
Yes.
You can't just, you buy the equipment and you go live. That's like 5-10% of the whole process, and then you go live. Well, then after you're done going live, for example, if you don't even do any pre-promotion, you still need to do post-promotion.
That's right.
You need to do a promotion after your show, to repurpose that content. Don't just say like, oh, hey, check the box. Now I'm starting the next live for the next week. So there's a lot you got to have a plan with your live streams. And, when you start your lives, you can schedule them. Like if you're going to go through Facebook, for example, you can schedule your lives up to 7 days in advance.
That's right.
And so, and as Melanie mentions here, it's also about consistency.
That's important.
It's key, but
you got to have a plan first to be consistent on. I don't want people to get confused with that word consistency, because I teach my clients all the time, but it's really about, you having that plan to be consistent on. And that's what's important, because you could be watching somebody else and you're consistent, but you're doing too much. So it's like, be very careful with that.
Definitely. So I'm going to go through like some of the comments here real quick, but you want to talk more about like what are some ways maybe people can promote their live show beforehand, or what they should be doing maybe?
Yeah, doing things like go live before the live. Like, a lot of times we got to understand people have other things to do other than watching you. I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. Me being a mother of 5 children, a wife, I had 1,000 things to do before I actually did this show. I have to cook breakfast. I have to feed the baby. I have to do all these things. So I went live in my private groups, my private client groups. I actually have 4 of them that I went live, and I let everybody know, hey, I'm going to be live doing the live live stream review show with Christian, make sure that you go to this link, set your reminders. You got to tell your audience what to do. And the more you do that, you're going to see consistent people coming on, and you're going to see newer people coming on as well. So that is important that you take advantage of that pre-promotion of your shows, because that's where you're going to see the conversion happen, not when you just hit that go live button. I'm sorry, my alarm was going off.
No, all good.
Go ahead.
No, and to that point, I mean, so you hit that go live button. It's also like you're just hitting the go live button. You bought the equipment, you're going live consistently, but you don't have the community. It's going to be hard to move the needle. Very
exactly. Hard. Yes. So, what I do too, let's talk about that real quick, because that's a good topic. And why we're talking, guys, hop on the panel, ask us some questions as well here on the panel. Yeah. But I do things like on my Facebook, if I'm on my Facebook personal page and I have something exciting to promote, I don't know if you saw, Christian, I'm now featured in Fox, CBS, and NBC. So cool. I was like, I'm not just going to showcase the article here on my page. I want to build up excitement around this, because this is a huge accomplishment for my brand. So what I did was I said, hey guys, if you want to check out the articles that I've been featured in, you got to join my Facebook group. And I put my link. And we've gotten tons of people inside requesting to join. Still, we haven't even approved everyone just yet. But it's you got to lead it on. And then from there, I have a whole strategy on how I'm going to go live. And I know people are going to ask, well, how did you get featured here? And now it's okay, light bulb effect. I don't want to share that. It also helps me to know whether or not people are really interested in what it is that I am discussing and offering and talking about. So you got to have that Pied Piper effect, where it's okay to share things on our public platforms, but certain things you want to keep just for your community, just for your tribe. And also let people know that, I can't hear what this exciting news here. I got to get inside her world and get in her group or get on her email list to get access. See, that's what people really care about, is the access. And when you restrict access and you say, no, I'm not going to talk about that over here, I want to talk about that to my tribe. You could call your community your a own name. Some people call their community besties, or the tribe, or the domination tribe, or different names like that. Think of a name, so that way you're sort of getting more people in your community, updating your list, and you notice that there's more people hopping on your content. So I could have easily went live on my personal pages this morning and said, hey, I'm going to be on the show today. But I was like, no. Let me go live in my groups, because that's my community. That's where people really want to, it's about people who really want to interact with me, and then, pivot them to where I want them to go.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like the point that you make about, not you hear people, they'll tell you, you know what, you need to put everything out there and give. And, it's true. You should give things. You should be giving things away.
That's right.
And I don't mean give everything away. So for example, let's use McDonald's as an example. So, McDonald's has maybe it's not a secret sauce now, but they have a secret sauce for the Big Mac, for example.
But it's still a secret though.
And they don't give that, or even is it the Szechuan sauce? I think, is that the right name?
One of them.
But here's the thing. So they have a secret sauce, so they don't give that away. But you know what? They give freely of everything else. So you kind of have to look at it like that. So for example, you may not be unique with what you think is not worth giving away. For example, it just could be something. Hey, I can go Google that. So give it away. People are just going to go Google it anyway. So why not give freely of that versus hey, you know what? If I have this process that I have developed, that I have strictly developed, then I don't necessarily want to give that away. So you kind of have to weigh the balance between that. But you do have to do things to promote your live show. So don't just say, hey, I'm going to go live, I'm going to be consistent, and do this every single week, for example.
That's right.
You need to be, maybe for a week, if you go live 3 times a week and you notice your numbers aren't moving, you need to look at your process. So that tells me, hey, you know what? You don't have a community.
That's right.
If you don't have a community, then what I would do is I would take a step back, and instead of going live 3 times a week, I would actually consider mixing that up. I would say, hey, you know what? let's create some pre-recorded videos and upload those to like our YouTube channel and
Mm-hmm.
build an audience that way through the tutorials or information you're providing, and then
Mm-hmm.
have the live stream be a separate part of the package. Does that make
That's
sense?
right. That's right. That's true.
So,
Yeah, it's about the you know, the what part, not the how. It's like I know obviously everything people can search and find out on
yeah.
Google,
Mhm.
but what's the difference between you and them, those of y'all who are live streamers and you're going live? It's like people are going to be able to ask you questions and get that more get that more breakdown strategy than they would have they just typed in a keyword on Google as well. So yeah, so we would love to hear what you guys have to say today.
Cool. So I got a couple people backstage. Only thing I ask you guys, by the way, put your camera on.
Put them
That's
cameras
first. We
on.
want to see who you are. You know, and then in addition to that, you know, have like tell us who you are, what your name is, what your business is about, and then if you have 1 to 2 questions, let's ask those. And then if your questions are very long, let's tackle a couple of them, and then I'll go to the next ones and the next ones, and then I'll circle back to you.
Circle right on back.
So let me just go through real quick and just check out the comments. So
Yeah.
first off, USA live stream. You know, I didn't get your message from last week. You know, I think you won our pillow, our contest. We're doing another one of those, by the way, at the end of the show, everyone. But USA live stream, do me a favor, send me a Facebook message.
Yeah.
I get those. So just send it to me. I'll double check. And then we'll make sure we get your information. Okay, let's
absolutely.
Okay, so David Wilson, you said you have a LinkedIn Live Ring of Hire show on staffing. I'd love to know more about that. So if you can do me a favor, if you're not backstage yet, I'm going to drop the link here. But please join us backstage because I want to hear more about that from you. I can guess what it is, and Leticia, you can guess what it is.
Yes,
I want to hear from you how you describe your show, because that's also important. It's the 30-second elevator pitch that you give somebody.
Yep. That's right.
Okay, so we got that. Let me see what else. And then IG Smile King 40. I'm going to bring you on here in a second. I'm not sure what your real name is. I think you're one of the people that's commented, but I hope that's. I'll figure that out here. Okay, so let's see. Again, Celebrate streams live through Facebook and YouTube. Celebrity interviews have not been able to get it through LinkedIn. Definitely join us backstage. I'm happy to, or I want to bring you on. We can talk about for example, in your case, how do I get LinkedIn live streaming?
Yeah.
Let's see. Akachi Chanuvati, streaming from Bangkok. Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
So, that's pretty awesome. So, you know, I want to hear like from you, for example, how's the stream quality going from Bangkok? I've been to Thailand. So, you know, I'd love to know what the streaming is for you, what it's like there.
Yes, that's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you, Melanie. Melanie says she likes my audio. Thank you.
I know. I was telling Leticia right before we started, she changed the audio and I was like, this is actually really good, whatever you adjusted.
Tristan, you are my coach. No. Yeah, everything you tell me to buy, I just buy it.
Doing a great job, by the way. And let's see. So Sharon May, you have a live stream on health and wellness. Again, join us backstage. We want to hear more about what your business is about. You know, what it's about, and if you have any certain challenges or questions.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. Is there anything else here before we bring on?
I see Sir Bird. He says, is there any uploads for StreamYard this month, like noise cancellation? Let's
see.
It just came in. I don't know on my end.
Okay, let me go back to that one real quick. Let's see. Is there an upload of StreamYard this month, like noise cancellation? So we don't have a noise cancellation feature. We do have like echo cancellation. So if you go into the cam mic settings and go to audio, there's an option. You can check the box. It'll say echo cancellation. You can adjust that. And then I'll let you adjust the volume. It does some processing basically. So there are some other apps as well you can try for noise cancellation. I would caution you though, some of them do a pretty good job, but they mostly take out all the noise so that it does sound a little weird and artificial. Okay, so let's see. So do that, and then we're gonna bring on IG Smile King here. Sorry, by the way,
absolutely.
Lots of questions here. So Kathy asked, "Will StreamYard have Instagram linking in the near future?" So the one thing you have to remember about anyone who wants to do Instagram Live, Instagram does not allow you to stream outside of their platform.
Yeah.
I know you're going to tell me that, yes, there are tools out there, third-party tools out there, but I'm a social media manager basically by trade. I've been doing that for like like 15 plus years now.
Mhm.
And I can tell you right now, Instagram, they don't allow you to do it. And the reason they don't is because they don't give access to their API. Now, there
Mhm.
are tools out there that will let you stream to Instagram Live, but the problem is that when you use them, Instagram actually, they've been known to block accounts just for even
Mhm.
installing. So you have to be really careful of that.
I wouldn't
You know,
risk it. I really
it
wouldn't.
it's such a crapshoot. I mean, people do it, and then like some people are fine, but like they don't care if you're a big brand or a small brand. They don't allow it.
No.
So when you do that, you're technically breaking their terms of service.
Mhm.
So
That's right.
just keep
That's
that in
right.
mind. And I'm not going to mention the tools because I don't necessarily want you to like. It's not that I don't want you to stream to Instagram. It's that I don't want you to risk getting your account banned.
Exactly. I mean, what you can do is obviously if you have a cell phone and you're streaming from your laptop, just have the cell phone, live on Instagram while you're, doing your live. That's just another way. You're not like adding in like Christian, you're not like adding in a
Yeah.
third party, software or anything like that. You just stream it
Right.
from your show, from your phone,
Cool.
your
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stop here with the comments, and we're gonna bring in IG Smile King
Yes.
40. So IG Smile King 40, thanks a lot for joining us.
Hey.
Tell me, who are you? What's your business, and then what questions do you have?
Great. Yeah. Well, mine is kind of controversial. It's vaping, but I don't want to get all into that.
Okay.
My yeah. So my question to you guys is I don't have any audio or video issues. Everything is fine. I
Okay.
kind of want to get an idea on hosting. That seems to
Okay.
be my biggest problem is controlling time, controlling my guest, trying to get people not to talk over each other. It's been a challenge. So I just kind of want to see get some ideas on what you guys think on trying to kind of controlling my time, my segments, and getting people to do their best not to talk over each other.
Yeah, on my shows, I have what I call a run of show, meaning that before I do any summits or virtual panels, we have a meeting prior to that with all the speakers who are going to participate. And I let them know, guys, you have 10 minutes, to state what you want to talk about. I also have an assistant that makes sure that if somebody is going over their time, she's reaching out to them and say, okay, you gotta come off. And it's like having those meetings, let them know like this is just not opportunity for us to have fun and a conversation and kiki and stuff. Like this is serious. We want to make sure that the audience who are watching us, they don't see that we're all over the place. You want to have that sort of professionalism. So it's just like, if you were on a major network, is they do the same thing where they pull everybody aside. It's like they come into a little huddle and they give you the rundown, how long we're going to be talking about this topic. Then we're going to be transitioning over here. Then you're going to have 10 minutes. And then after everybody finish talking, I'm going to come back to you. You're going to have 5 minutes to speak, and everybody's is responsible for their time. But when they go a little over, I have my assistant in the background that says, listen, girl, you gotta let's go. So it's like,
Try. We have our pre meetings and stuff like that, and my show is pretty scripted out exactly what's going to happen. So I do that through the week. Everybody has that, and it just seems like I fall into it myself a lot because I just start getting into my guest and listening to them. And then all of a sudden what I notice is like, I'll look down at I even go as far as taking my cell phone, putting it in front of me with a timer.
Yeah.
And it's going off and I still don't hear it and I'm still going. And I'm just like, all right, I got to figure out a different way.
You're the host. You got to practice.
It is hard.
I know. Trust me, I know. I could go off into a tangent and then even my VA clocks me. She's like, Coach, like get back, like let's go back to the thing. It's like it's hard, especially if it's a good show.
That's it. Because I have just another question building on top of another question from that question, and it's just trying. I don't want to get to the point though where I have to mute a co-host.
Yes.
But that's where I'm at. Like I'm at that situation where it's like, okay, either you start following the script or I mute you, and I don't want to do that. So I was trying to. Yeah, I don't. I just kind of try I've even done some research on YouTube, just trying to see, actually watching like the old guys, Johnny Carson, Conan, those guys, and see how they go about talking to the guest and how they go, okay, it's time to move on to the next segment or go to commercial break. And I almost have thought of doing somewhat of a commercial break.
That's good.
Yeah, so I was like, well, why don't I just do a commercial break, and that'll kind of slow the segment down a little bit and give me back some of that control that I need to get from either my co-host or the guest.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something also as simple as you saying, okay, when we switch the screen, like how we are like this here on StreamYard, let's say, okay, you're going to definitely know when you're cued to stop talking or switch to the next topic when I take you off the full screen and put somebody else on. Then just, it's just doing trust me, I can't sit here and act like I'm not guilty of going over my time because I am. But it is hard. We just get better and better at it each and every time, and not be so hard on ourselves at it at the same time as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's great is this program has made my job a lot easier. So I'm not having to do a lot in the background to try to keep the show running. So I have more time to focus on the show, on the guest, and my co-host. And it's just like now I'm like hearing it. So I'm hearing it more than I was before when I either was running off of OBS or one of the other softwares. I was constantly always, okay, got to fix this, got to fix my mic. My light is off, the camera's is flickering, and now everything's just so smooth.
So smooth.
So now I'm hearing all the imperfections, someone's microphone, someone's lighting, this light, this guest is, boring, or it's just, it's been difficult to try to kind of control everybody.
I know. And that's hard too, especially when you have a guest that is not carrying the show. You have to hop in and just sort of like carry the show as well. So that's another part of it as well. When do you have a guest that bombs, they may have exciting their Instagram and their Facebook, they look exciting, but when they get on your show, it's like, girl, like let's like get to the point.
Tell me something crazy, please.
Yes, come on. And then you got to step in. You know how that feels, and you got to step in so you can carry the show. Yeah.
Tell me what you did last weekend. Please.
I will say this, by the way. I want to jump in here. So
go right ahead.
I will say this. I mean, so part of it is, and I'm somewhat guilty of this as well. It's like if the conversation is going and everything seems to be going really well, you do want to try to stick to a time. Yeah. Part of it is like it's a balance. You want to balance your time, but the amount of time you give back as well. So, for example, when I started my show, Social Chatter, like my shows were like 3+ hours, and I would just go. And then I realized, oh, hey, it's really good. But then I was like, well, there's 2 hours of my time that I'm not just giving away, but 2 hours that I am like, I could be doing to build out other things in my business. And so what I did was, okay, I said, okay, I'm going to really work hard to scale this back. And then I wrote out my script. I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to have this segment's going to be a couple minutes. This is going to be the longer part. This one's going to be 5 minutes, and so forth. And then I added a little bit of buffer time. But you do want to make sure you may have to step in at points and say, hey, you know what? Thanks a lot for, great conversation here. We need to keep it moving. I mean, as Joe Dexter here mentions, he says he uses videos as transitions to bring in different guests, overlays, etc.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Just kind of thrown in an overlay right there.
That's a great idea. I might do that as well. I don't really use overlays, but I could see how that would help. Absolutely. Thank you, Joe, for sharing that.
Yeah,
some crowd noise, like clapping.
And to Joe's point, also, by the way, well, so the other point to Joe's point here also is that like sometimes we have to be a little more forceful because remember, it's your show.
Yeah.
So if for example, if your show goes really long, and let's say people aren't really taking anything away from it, it's not necessarily reflecting on the guest; it's reflecting on you.
That's right.
So. You may need to step in there and you have to be a little bit forceful and say, hey, you know what? Like, for example, whenever I have guests on, I make sure that I bring on the best people that I possibly can. And I review them and I say, hey, you know what? No, seriously. I review them and I say, hey, you know what? This person, like, okay, they, I've watched some of their stuff before. They have tendency to ramble. Let me try to keep them on point and focused. And if they keep doing it, then I put them, they're not at the top of my list for like the next time to invite them back, for example.
Yeah.
Remember, there's always going to be someone else out there that you come on, and you want to just try to craft the show that has the best people. And your point, you mentioned what, Johnny Carson, I think, a lot of those shows, they're scripted. It's not just scripted out, but they've got time clocks. They got all sorts of stuff going on behind the scenes. And they know like, hey, when this red light goes on, this is when this needs to happen.
Yeah.
So, and they will cut to commercial break for example. It's like the Oscars, I think. When you watch the Oscars, the person's acceptance speech is going too long. They do throw something up there, and
music
they
goes
get what,
on.
Joe mentioned,
Get
putting
off
up
the stage.
transition. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
even if we noticed that during the inauguration, I forgot the guy's name. So sorry. He was singing and then we got off stage and they were like, okay, you got to go back up the steps and we got to move on to the next thing. I love what Andrew mentioned. He said, balancing time is our biggest challenge now. So many online events. Yes, that is so true.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Great point.
I even tried last week. What I tried to do is I went ahead and sent the guest all my questions. So he could kind of get himself ready to what he's going to expect being said on the show. And I was hoping that kind of speeds up his response so I can keep that part of my segment going so I can move on to the news and other things that we do on our show.
Yeah.
But
I do that same thing, but when I send my questions, I send it through a Google Doc and I want the person to tell me what their answers are. Trust me, I want to see your answers. So if you have, let's say that I only really ask 3 questions really, but if the second question is like an essay, 4 paragraphs, I'm like, girl, can you like gap that down just a little bit? We don't need to know about, you had a dog and it died and you had to bury it. It's sad, and it does relate to your brand, but we got to like stick to the bullet points. So give me bullet points and that's it. So get their answers too.
So that's what I tried to even tell my co-host, and is trying to explain to them the talking over each other. That's the big one. That's the one I really have a lot of issue with. And I've even let them listen to the replay of the show just so they can hear how bad the audio is getting jumbled up, and to understand that that our viewers that are watching the show are going, huh? What did he say? What was going on? And I don't want that. So I try to stress the fact that the less we do that, the better it is for our show, because people can understand, what we're saying. You can have the best video in the world, but if your audio is horrible, nobody's going to watch.
Amen.
You can have 4K, 8K video. I don't care. But if you have people constantly talking over each other, or your audio is so horrible, nobody's going to watch. And that's what I try to stress to them. Let's do our best I even told a couple people, take a deep breath, count to 10. And I know you want to get what you're thinking in your head out, but just take a second and, count to 10 and give that other person a time to finish their thought.
Absolutely. And even when I've had summits where I had like, oh my God, like 12 people on the screen at once.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah. But you know what? It worked because for me, because I gave everybody their like time, the run time. Like, okay, first Tiffany, you state your point, then Therese, then Shoshana, then it's like, and everybody knew, okay, I go after Shoshana or I'm after Alita. So that way nobody talk over each other. So like, and that person may not even have, like, let's say we talk about a particular topic and I'd be like, Alita starts talking, and then I'm like, okay, Shoshana, how do you feel about that topic? And Shoshana would say, well, I'm just going to piggyback off of Alita. Okay, great. Now let me hop on over to Therese. So everybody knows when they are supposed to speak, and nobody speaks out of turn. That's just how it is. I grew up in a large family. So whenever we would have family discussions, that's how my mom did us, or else you got to get out of the room.
Well, hey, thank you guys. I've had no issues with StreamYard. Everything has always worked perfectly. Audio's always been good. Video's always been good. I just, I want to get better at being a host. And one show I have I run 3 different shows, and I don't want to get into them, but I always have at least 3 to 4 co-hosts, and just trying to balance all that. And I'm real, I don't want to say that word, but I'm real picky about how I have my show set. So I do take the time to script my show. I have my intro in, I have when this person's coming on, how much allotted time they have, and it's all broken down. But it just seems like I'll get to the intro, and then the ship hits it just starts
like the Titanic.
It just starts to derail as it goes down in the show. And then what I like to do at the end of the show, after it's all done, the next day I'll watch it again and look at my times, and I can go back to my my docket and go, okay, I was over 10 minutes here. I was over 15 minutes here, and how I
Mhm.
could get better at those spots. So I always wanted to see if some of you guys, you're professionals at it.
Let me say this. First of all, I love your setup. I love the background. I love the camera quality. I mean, it looks
Yeah.
amazing. And
Thank
I've never worked in production, but I've seen what happens behind the scenes, and I could understand why a lot of the hosts who run the show screams in the background and say, "Y'all running on my time," And I get it now, and I know you get it because we are hosting a show. This is serious, and people need to know that when we show up and do our shows, do our summits, whatever have you, this is like serious business, and
Yeah.
the people are going to get that vibe. So if they're I just want to just be clear, like if there are times where sometimes maybe you guys who are watching and also you hear where you sort of voice that frustration, like guys, please just
Yeah.
don't go over your time. Like this is my brand. This is not a thing, something I just want to do for the first quarter or just because it's February or whatever. Like I
I like
it's
that.
like if
It's
I want to
February.
do this. So and that's what I'm saying. I understand like on the production side why you see complaints about how Howard Stern was and all these other famous people that the employees would be like, he was so mean. I'm like, I get it though.
Yeah.
Like you want
Yeah.
to make sure like the stuff comes out good because
Yeah.
them critics and them people in the comments will have their opinions to say about your sound quality.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh dang, but I had a good content though.
Yeah.
Or
See that?
everybody's talking all over each other's all over the place. So people may not want to watch,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
It's this. Well, hey, this generation of YouTube viewers or even Facebook video view, it's quick. It's got to be, you got to grab them right at the beginning. And if it's, like I said, you could have 8K video. You could have the best video you've ever seen in your life. But if the audio is just cracking or people are constantly screaming over each other and they're not getting any content from that, you're done. You're
You're
done.
done.
And you'll see it in your analytics. I mean, if you start seeing drop-offs in 3 seconds or 5 seconds of the beginning of your video, obviously you have either a content issue or you have, audio or video issues. And, but a lot of times it's content. They just don't want to listen to your bullshit. They move along. Wait, what's this video about? And boom, gone.
They're gone. They're gone.
gone.
If they can't hear you, you're too low, you're too far away. And, sometimes the most littlest adjustment will make a big difference. But I'm so glad you mentioned about sound because that is important. I've noticed the viewership has gone up for me once I just got something as simple as a cord, $16 cord for my mic. But I love it. I love your setup. I love your setup.
Thank you. Yeah, a $16 Shield good XLR cable is very important.
Yes, it makes a difference.
Not an Amazon basic, but a good cord that actually.
I be going into the guitar store all the time. Christian got me hooked.
Oh God,
to that store. Yes.
No, I haven't had any issues with the audio. I've had a couple. Like all right. This is the only thing that's given me issues. I don't know if my camera is going to decide to focus on it.
Yes, good.
If anybody is out there, don't buy this piece of junk.
What's the issue you're having? Well, what's the issue you're having?
Yeah, talk about it.
Okay, what happens to this thing is when you start to turn up your gains, and if you have a dynamic microphone like the Rode Pod mic, and you need to boost it up, when you get to 9, there is the gap from 9 to 10 is like a 12, 13 jump. There's the boost is just insane. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but when you start, when you get to 9 and you try to go into a little bit of 9, you're going into like 20 and then 10. There's some kind of it's documented. I'm not the only one that's having that issue, but the gain is just too quick from 9 to 10. And I mean, I don't know if some people say it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't affect the microphone because the preamp quality is okay. But I can actually hear that the preamp is starting to get really distorted once it gets into that. I get past 9.
So I think part of that. So I'll tell you. So there's a question here. They're saying, hey, what kind of mics we're using? So, Leticia, what mic are you using? Let's go there first.
Okay, I got my mic from Amazon. I'm just gonna spell it. It says DSCHLZY. That's the name of it. I'm be honest, I was talking into the mic wrong. After being on the first episode of the show, if my mic is flat, so you have to talk into the flat side, and I had to change my USB cord that came with the mic because I was sounding like I was in a basement all the time.
Yep.
And it picked up everything, the kid, the baby crying, like, oh, you in the bathroom? I'm like, oh god, somebody in there flushing the toilet. Yeah. And it was just it was a mess. So I got a brand new USB cord. I just went to the guitar store. It was only like $17 with tax. So yeah, that's the mic I'm using. Yeah.
And then I know you're using the Rode Pod mic. That's about $100 mic, right?
Yeah, it's a great mic.
Nice.
If you can find them, it's a great mic.
Wow.
And, I'll say this: like a lot of those you'll probably want to buy directly from your manufacturer.
Yes.
Primarily because, well, a lot of them, I think a lot of them are pulling their stuff from Amazon. Maybe I know at least Rode stuff is for the most part is.
Yeah.
Their stuff not appearing on Amazon search. So at least I haven't been able to find it. So the Rode Pod mic, good $100 mic. And then I'm using the Shure SM7B as well. This is a
beautiful mic.
It's like, I love your mic, Christian.
But I will say going back to your point, by the way, which was your M Audio product you had there. So one thing I did have to do with this was I bought the microphone and then I had to buy this. It's called a DM-1.
Christian, they can't see you.
Yeah, I can't see you.
Yep. Yeah. Good call. Yes. So so microphone wise, I did end up buying this, which is the DM-1. I have to use it to basically boost the signal for the microphone. So that's some stuff you do want to keep in mind. Like if your audio, so for example, if your audio is really low, some of the mics require more power. Right. And it's not about, okay, I buy a mixer and then I can increase the volume there. It's not about that. You have to have something like this plugged in to help boost the signal of the mic. And this is an extra $100. There's some that are $150 and much more than that.
Some, at a $200 range.
Yeah. So back to your M Audio thing. I'm wondering if you need a cloud lifter of sorts in that.
Well, right now,
when I plugged this in, I had to turn my gain on my audio interface down significantly down.
Yeah. Well, the SM58 that you have there, or is that that's the 57? Which mic?
The 7B actually.
The 7B. I'm sorry. Yeah, that one's a real low mic. Yeah, you need a cloud lifter. Yeah. But right now, I'm using my older preamp, and it's working fine. It's the Behringer, the UMC22.
Yeah.
But the only problem is it's a single input. I'm a USB audio interface, and I need to have the second mic. So that's why I went and bought that other one because it got a pretty decent reviews. But then when I got home, I realized, okay, well, I already knew I had to crank the preamp up to get the Rode Pod mic to work as well as I needed it to. But at least I could get into 8 and 9 and without any issues. But when I went to use this one, and as soon as I got to 9 and I just passed 9, it would make like a 20 decibel jump. And it would get too loud, and then the noise, it was hard to adjust within StreamYard, and people were like, dude, you're way too loud. I'm like, well, good, you can hear me, But,
turn your phone down then.
Take your headphones off now. But that was always my issue. But you guys have I've talked about it on the other show, but it would be so nice if you guys had an advanced feature in the audio section to where I can control compression, I can control noise gate, all that stuff. Kind of like OBS. I know it's could never happen, but it would be a nice feature other than just checking, echo cancellation and microphone adjustment and stuff like that. But actually being able to go in there, because I know you guys are doing that in the background with the software. But what is your compression ratio? That you have designed for every single microphone? Where everybody could be, because like when I use OBS, I go 3-to-1 with this microphone, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah. I get it, because sometimes you could have a mic, like I'm always on mic'd up, but every show that I do, my guests won't invest in mics. They'll get the green screen, they'll get the props, and obviously I'm not going to force someone. You can't be on my show unless you have either this type of mic or that, because then it's like, you don't know what people can afford, to get. So that would be nice if we can control the sound for our guests. I do agree on that.
So here's what I put in as a feature request. So I'll go and do that. And then again, I mean, if you have any other questions, if you want to pop back in, if you have other questions, I'll definitely bring you back on.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot for coming on. And I
thank you.
Like
thank
the
you guys.
That's a physical I think that's a physical background. I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah,
So, nice
it's taken some time. I haven't had any, like I said, no issues with the program. It was just trying to figure out ways to control my show and trying to get ideas from other hosts on how they control their guests, their co-hosts. It would be great. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of Johnny Carson, been watching Conan. I try not to watch too much Joe Rogan because I don't want to go down that.
That's like
yeah. So, but yeah, I that was my biggest issue, and I was like, okay, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm scripting my show. I'm picking my co-host wisely when they get on, when they do what they're supposed to do. It's just trying to learn that. I guess it's just going to take some time to learn when to segue, how to segue out of someone's, episode, and it's just going to take time.
It is, but you're doing a great job already. I'm gonna check you out.
All right.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for joining us.
All right. Thank you again, you guys. Have a good Saturday and good weekend.
You too. God bless.
Bye.
Jasmine had a good question. She said, are all of your arms connected to the desk? I'm actually rebuilding my corner setup. Yeah, all of my arms. I actually am thinking about, and we talked about this last week, Christian, of having something that is more of attached to the floor that could come up. Like I would love to have my camera not have to be on my desk. But yeah, that's the only change I would make. But yeah, all of my equipment is on my desk right now.
Yeah, mine is too. I would also say this. I'm going to drop a link to something.
Yeah.
So this is something you may want to consider. It's from Elgato. It's the Multimount. And so what it is, and I'll drop the link here, and then I'm going to screen share this real quick.
Awesome.
And then I think there's another question as well. Somebody wants to see your microphone, but I'll talk about the Multimount real quick. And then we're going to bring in Marcus, who's been patiently waiting, and then David and Clarine. So this is the Multimount. So I'll show you all this. So this is the Multimount. And basically what you have here, you have a few different arms for this device. And basically what it's doing is it's where you're able to, like this one, for example, this is clipping on your desk, but they do sell a heavy base. So I'm not sure how high it comes up, but you may want to consider getting. So there's two options. If you want to put it on your desk, it clips onto your desk and you just tighten it to the desk. But this one, the multi-mount, is actually a pretty cool feature because the way it works is you can use it to build different rigs, different setups. So for example, if you want to be able to move it around, then you put the base, the heavy base. But if you want to, for example, be able to build off of it, it's a good solid piece of metal. So you put it on your desk and then you can build in whatever direction you want so that you can put things out of the way when you don't need them. And they have some super useful features. Like they've got let me find it real quick. I think it's this one actually. Yeah. So this one's actually pretty cool. It's two different types of mounts.
Yeah.
And so like there's one that's like, okay, so here's the base, for example, and then it has this swiveling arm and you can move it towards you or sideways or whatever, and you can clamp things onto it as well.
Oh, wow. That's good.
So definitely check that out. And they're not, it really depends on what you're trying to do. So
yeah, that's true.
This one, they put an overhead light. This is their key light, but they put this over top to give them really good lighting if they're showing a top-down approach. But it really comes down to what you're going to do with it. You can even attach a phone to this as well. So you have options based on what you're looking to do. So that's the Elgato multi-mount. I would say this is not terribly expensive actually compared to other mounts. So just keep that in mind. That might be useful if you want to put a microphone off. The other thing also is like, so there are tabletop stands where you can just put your microphone on a tabletop. And so it's right here in front of this whole thing like I've got going on. But the benefit is that I can move this, for example, out of the way. As you can see there, I can move it out of the way, if I need to. But again, it also factors in the shot. So it comes down to how much room you have, I think, in your space. The desktop mount's actually pretty good. I mean, just put put a mic stand in front of you and you can move it forward and you can move it out of the way when you need to. So,
and I realized the heavier the mic stand, the heavier the bass, the better. Like this is heavy, but it doesn't move around. Like other mic stands I had, every time I like hit my hand on the desk, the whole the whole camera was shake, which was so annoying. Someone asked about our cameras.
Yeah.
I use a Logitech. I love Logitech.
Yeah, I'm using so I have a Logitech and I also am using here. So I've got a couple. So I've got, this is one that I have. This is the Logitech Brio. So this is a Logitech Brio. It's actually kind of nice because this actually has the ability to, let me see if I get this to focus. So this has the ability to disconnect here at the base. I could disconnect this camera and I can put it on a tripod. The only downside to this one, it's USB-C only, which is not bad, except for the fact that you can't put it into switchers, things like that. So if you want to use like a switcher needs an HDMI connection, so you can't use webcams with switchers. But currently I'm using a Sony. I've got one of the 6100 series cameras. So that's, and I adjusted my quality this morning. So, but that's what I'm using. Let me see what else we got. We got some good questions here. Okay, so I'm going to bring Marcus here in a second. Let me answer one more question. Let's see. So, let's see. So Crazy Ant vlogs. So you mentioned something about like your streams getting muted. Do me a favor, if you just can clarify what you mean by that. Is it being muted by Facebook or YouTube, or because like for example, StreamYard, we wouldn't be muting your stream. It would be something with the destination you're streaming to. So like, and I'm only asking the questions because I don't know, I don't have any more details to go off of. But if your stream, for example, is getting muted, it could be because, for example, if it's Facebook could mute it because of the music you're playing. It could be copyrighted music. It could be even if it's a cover of music that can be muted as well, because you're technically not really allowed to play that kind of music as well. That's still owned by somebody. So that's something to keep in mind. So just
and even if like, I know sometimes we do invest in getting intros and outros, make sure whoever's doing your intro and outro, because I had to reach out to someone who did my intro, that they actually bought the licensing for that. It could be a jingle, it could be whatever. You want to make sure that they own the license, or else you need to get your money back from them. But yeah, that could be an issue too, because some people, I didn't play no music in there. All I played was my outro. And I was like, all right, did the person create the outro? Did they own the rights to that music? No. All right, then that's why.
And to that point, by the way, I want to touch on that. And I got one question, and then Marcus, I'm bringing you in. So the reason, so one thing to also keep in mind when you're using any sort of music, you want to make sure that you purchase the correct license. There are consumer licenses, and a consumer license is like, hey, I'm using this in again, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm using this in let's say it's in like a slideshow that I'm going to build for my family or something like that. I'm not selling it. I'm not making any money on it. So that would be an acceptable use. However, let's say if I'm any sort of business, if I'm a business, and even if I don't make any money, I have to buy the professional license or the business license. The reason I have to do that is because it's not about like, they don't care if you don't make any money. They care about the fact that you're a business that has the potential to make money off of their product without paying for their product.
That's right.
So, and the same thing holds true for like websites, like website design, any of that same kind of thing. Like a lot of these companies, they say, hey, you know what? We'll let you use our website theme, but if you're going to use it to make money, you need to buy the correct license for it. It's not the consumer license. So you do have to keep in mind with that. And even if it's like, hey, I make AdSense money or whatever it is. So just keep in mind. Okay.
That's right.
Let's see. And then I got one other question real quick here. So Philippines on Demand, you asked when we upload videos, how come we can move around in the order in which we want to put them? So one thing you can do, by the way, in StreamYard is, for example, I'm going to drag Leticia. So like I can drag to reorder our camera feeds. The screen shares, we do have controls here along the bottom. They're like different displays depending on what you want the view to look like. But as far as actually drag, like again, we try to make it easy. That's the key thing. So when you start offering tons of customization, it makes it harder to build. So
Exactly.
hopefully that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring on Marcus. And Marcus had a question. Let me see. Marcus says, how do you manage chat as a solo producer? Find it difficult to do two things at the same time. So Marcus, thank you first of all for joining us.
That's
Thanks
a great question.
for joining us.
Absolutely. Yeah, my name is Marcus Cephala. I am a TEDx speaker. I'm a stand-up comedian, and on my channel, I help people engage better with their audience. So it's communication tips from a comedian is my channel, and I do normal YouTube videos, and I do some live streams every now and again, and really enjoying the live streams so far. And yeah, managing that chat is it can definitely be a challenge because I'm doing the whole thing on my own, and I know that some streamers are able to look at the chat at the same time, but I'm not able to do that. So any tips that you have in that area would be good.
Leticia, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, like similar to what we do on this show, where we say, hey, if you have a question, do #ask. If you want to get on the panel, like we can make a hashtag for if people want to hop on to do that. So you got to sort of like control the chaos that goes on in the chat by having certain keywords to where you know that your eyes are going to go to that. So for example, I know a lot of people are asking questions here in the chat right now, but only the ones that put #ask. That's just what my eyes draw to first. And then all the other questions come after that. So that can, in fact, help as well. But also let people know, like, like I do say this sometimes on my lives. I'm like, hey, oh my God, there's so many questions coming in. Just so my audience knows that, I'm trying to get to all the questions, all the comments, but there's a lot coming in, and they're going to understand. They're in the chat. They're seeing all these questions coming in as well. So, I mean, have certain keywords, #ask, #questions, #Q. Different things like that, or hey, if you want me to shout you out, #shout out, something like that. It does help with the flow. Or have a Q&A point. Like there's some times where I'll do certain lives or presentations where I'm not answering any questions on the live. I always say, listen, towards the end of the live, then I'll answer all of you guys' questions. So just so you know, I'm not going to be in the chat in there trying to figure out who's asking the questions, who's leaving a comment, who's saying my makeup look amazing, whatever. At the end, I will go to the chat, and I do that all the time. And that way I could just, scheme through the content and then get to the questions. And
I worked hard on my makeup today, man. I worked hard. I think it's on point. But that is exactly the format that I do currently as well. I do like a presentation, let's say 20 minutes or something like that, where I completely ignore the chat, and then I take questions later on. And I'm trying to figure out, is there a better way to do that? Because that's the only way that I've found out so far that actually works for me.
Yeah.
The other thing with my live stream is also that I do record them for the replay. So let's say if there's 20 people watching the live, there might be 1,000 people watching the replay. And I think that replay watchers are somehow more important than the people who are there live on some level.
That's true. That's very true.
So I want to take some of your question here. So, okay. So one thing I would recommend doing, so for starters, I got to say practice is going to be key. I mentioned this earlier. I run a show called Social Chatter. I've been doing it for almost 7 years now.
Wow.
And when I started, I didn't have I was doing everything myself, and I'm still doing everything myself. However, so some things that I've done, I've enlisted a co-host. So for example, you also see here, I have a co-host. So a co-host helps because now I can be like, hey, Leticia, I can private message her during this, during this stream. I can be like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you also help keep an eye on the comments? Because I try to do everything, but I can't. So that's the first thing. So now if you're the only person doing it, that's where you need to have a very specific structured show so that you and you're muted. So you need a structured show that you stick to, and you have to remember you can only do so much. So you want to make sure you do the handful of things you need to do very well, and just kind of maybe cut some of it out. So for example, if it's 1 hour and you're like, oh man, I'm really tired after doing this stream because I'm always trying to do all this juggling, then you may want to scale back and just let's get 1 or 2 big parts correct. And then let's weave in the others, because it becomes second nature after you've done so many of them.
No, I think that makes sense. I just checked how many live streams I've done. I'm at 12 or 13. So it's still in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning this.
And also, there's also a run of show. So, a run of show also helps. It's like, and this is going to seem so silly to people, but when I first got started, this is how I organized my show. And these are post-it notes, but I took index cards and I wrote out. At first, I had an idea of what I wanted it to be. I then translated them to index cards and I laid them out in front of me. And I said, okay, what's the order that I want this to go? And then I saw like, hey, if I got like 10 index cards, I was like, wow, that's a lot to go over in a 1 hour show.
Yeah.
So, for example, what my show is, I cover the latest social media news each week. It's the longest show in the industry. And so, I started out like saying, oh, hey, I'm going to go through like, there's 10 topics this week. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's why the show is 2 hours long. I then said, you know what? I'm going to make it the top 3 or 4. And then I'm going to put everything into a blog post. So therefore, I'm repurposing my content. I'm putting the video out there. I'm optimizing the video for YouTube search. And then the written content allows me to put in all the stuff that's, the main thing, but then also what some of the smaller things are that may not be as useful for my viewers. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
and
that's what I do.
And I certainly do a run of show when it's like professional conferences or when it's at the stand-up comedy club, because then I know exactly minute by minute what's going to happen. I think the added challenge in a live stream is that there are 2 parallel things happening. There's something happening on the screen, and then there's that chat as well. And I think people will also be happy, or people will tolerate that you ignore the chat, but maybe making the rules clear, like you were saying, Leticia, and using specific instructions, specific hashtags. That might be a good method to manage.
Yeah, because your eyes are just going to go to it first. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm seeing tons of, now that you've said, hey, use hashtag ask, I'm seeing so many questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions, Marcus? I want to make sure I get through all these comments and then bring in David here.
Just one little comment. I appreciate everybody talking about their fancy microphone setups, but I think it's important also for anybody who wants to do live streams that you don't need fancy equipment to get started.
Right.
With something like StreamYard, you can get started with the free version. And the microphone that I'm using, this is a $70 microphone, and I think it's good enough. I don't have a fancy Arma. I only have one light. Usually I do use daylight. It's evening here in Switzerland at the moment, so I don't. But so I think we should encourage people also to get started with what they have. Start before you're ready and start messy. I think that's an important message to anybody figuring out how to live stream as well.
By the way, do me a favor real quick. What was your what industry are you in for your show?
Yeah.
It's communication tips from a comedian. So I give tips on how to make your video conferencing better, how to run hybrid meetings. I did a live stream about how to get on the TEDx stage, because I've been on that stage a couple of times. So it's communication tips from a comedian in a pretty broad sense.
Very cool. I'm just
Awesome.
just making some notes, so that's why. So awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for joining us and for asking your question.
Thank you for having me on. Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, so Leticia, let's run through a couple of these comments real
quick.
David,
Getting a lot.
So let's see. So I got to go find all these now. Let's see. So I was doing really well, and then now I'm like, okay, I lost my place in point. My spot. Let's see. So So Jasmine has a question. What if she's simulcasting? How do you make sure the stream is good? I think the first thing is you need to check your internet speeds. So you're going to want to go to a site, maybe speedtest.net. That's what a lot of people use. So that's the network that you're going to be broadcasting from. So you go to speedtest.net. You're going to look at the upload speeds. You're going to see, it's going to first tell you the download speed. And then it's going to tell you the upload speed. The download speed is going to be pretty darn awesome. But the upload speed is what the most important part is, because if you're the one, so you have to look at it like this. If let's say I'm consuming a show, say I'm watching Leticia's show. Okay. When I go to watch Leticia's show, if my download speed is good, that's fine, because I want to download her stream so that so it's not buffering, things like that. So I'm downloading her stream to watch it. However, if I am broadcasting, I am using the upload speed. Think of it like this. Your computer is the broadcast machine at that point. So you want to make sure the upload speed is good. Now, the recommended amount is typically between 3 and 6 megabits per second. So you're going to see, crazy numbers. You might see, I only get 3 or 5, for example. Some services, they'll give you, 400 or 500. But you have to also pay attention to this. The one thing that we always recommend at StreamYard is that you plug into Ethernet. Now, the reason we recommend that over using Wi-Fi is because Wi-Fi is not always a consistent signal. So when you're hardwired, that cable is plugged into your computer and it's running right to your router. it's going to give you a consistent signal. It's not going to be doing a lot of ups and downs, trying to, for example, bounce throughout your house or your organization or objects that you have around you.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you have between 3 and 6 megabits per second. And then also try to plug into Ethernet. If your internet speed is not the fastest, if you need to increase the upload speed, you may have to contact your ISP, your internet service provider, and
That's
ask
right.
them if they will increase it. Sometimes they will. And then some providers, they really cap it. I mean, I've been on some that like capped it at 1 megabit per second upload. And it's atrocious at that point because it's so low.
Yeah.
And they just wouldn't increase it. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind too. Like I have 5 children, 4 of them are always using either their computer or their tablet.
Yeah.
So if at nighttime I have to be on my Ethernet, or else I would like the connection would be horrible. So that's also one thing to keep in mind. If you have a lot of children like me or your husband or whatever, they like to be on their devices, get that Ethernet plugged in. That's important. Yes.
Yeah. Also, Leticia, but I see another question here. Somebody, Jasmine's also, again, great question, Jasmine. She wants to know when she streams, the feedback is insane without headphones. What's your secret? Now, I think that's a microphone issue, right?
Yes, that is a microphone issue. Some headphones are not all created equal. I realize.
They aren't. Yes,
like we can go up to the Walgreens and get like a $10 headset, and then when we're on a live or doing a show, it's picking up weird noise. I live in New York City, so right now, there's a big truck that just drove by. You guys didn't hear it, but the first episode in the show, you guys did hear all the noise outside. So, yeah, look into that. Look into the mic. Look into what headset. Sometimes I know you mentioned this, Christian, that when we're using the earbuds too, those are not always good when you are streaming or trying to pick up the audio. So, I understand we want to start off with what we have, but also spending a little bit extra some time on certain things is going to make the quality of your live streams better.
So, and I want to touch base real quick on the headphone question. So,
yeah,
I don't have a pair necessarily right here in front of me. Actually, you know what? Let me let you. Can you just answer some of these questions real quick? I'm going to grab a pair of headphones.
Yeah.
I want to show everyone this. So let me bring you up, and then I'll let you talk about some of this.
Yes. So Christian's gonna grab a set of headphones. Michael said, "Hey, Michael," he said, "you can connect Ethernet to your phone, Chromebook, computer, and iPad." Oh, I didn't know you can connect to your phone. I'm gonna look into that. Sometimes the best equipment upgrade is upgrading your internet plan. Comic Talk Weekly. That's what I recently did. I have Verizon come over here and change some stuff around. It was only like some of these upgrades, guys, are cheap. Like my upgrade was only an extra $8 a month. All right, let me go to these questions here. Someone had a really good question I wanted to answer. How do you guys make your eye? Oh, Rosalind said, how do you guys make your eyes not drop down to talk to each other on the screen? I mean, I have my camera in front of me, but I don't always look like if I'm looking at my camera, I feel kind of weird, right? Does this look weird to y'all? So I like to look down at whoever's on the screen so I can engage with them, but I get it. Sometimes we be like, oh, let me look in the camera, but people don't care if you're looking down. They know that it's live. So it is what it is. There we go. Your close-ups looks great. Oh, you're back. Okay. Awesome.
Let's see. Okay. So let's see. So, and by the way, David and Clarine, thanks so much for being patient, by the way. We get lots of questions here. These are good questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so I want to show you guys this. So we talked about headphones. Okay, so one thing you want to keep in mind, and hopefully this will focus really well on this. Okay, so you can't really see this. Let's see if I can get to focus. There we go. Okay, so one thing you'll notice, this set of headphones has 2 bands on it. So there's 2 bands on this pair of headphones, okay? And then this is a pair of I think these are Apple headphones. Yeah, these are Apple headphones. Let me find they're like brand new. So I'm going to open these real quick. There's some, these are Apple, earpods basically. So I think these have 2 plugs. Let me see. Where's the packaging? haven't opened these in a while, so they're very. Oh, darn. Here's the funny part. I grabbed the lightning cable ones.
Oh my God.
So
get
the bottom
the
line is this. So what was that?
You go get them if you want.
No. So, okay. What I wanted to basically just show you, I can use this as the example. Okay. So this is a they call it a TRRS connector. But it has 2 and 3 pins on it. So this has 2 pins, and then some of them have 3 and some of them have 4. Okay. And so this is one thing you want to pay attention to. So if you have the ones that are like, there are headphones that will only work on a mobile device. And then there are some that have 3 pins, for example. So you want to, so what I would say is this: if you have the ones that, like, if they came with your phone, chances are they're going to just work with your phone. And like, if they're like the original Apple ones that have the 2 and 3 pins, they will probably work with the laptop and your phone just fine. But there are some that are just, for example, like they're single poles, for example. And so if they have one little pole on it, it's not making connection correctly. Because it's only, like, your headphone jack is only plugging into like one of them, and it needs both of them, for example, or you don't have both of them on it. So you want to, so from a headphone standpoint, experiment with 2 different types of headphones. If you have some that you've gotten with like your phones, and you also have a second pair, like maybe you had from an MP3 player or CD player, an original iPod or something like that, experiment with those and see which ones sound the best for you. Because remember, if they also have a mic on them, that's the other thing. If they have a mic, that's where those poles are also important. So you need to make sure that they'll plug in correctly so that you can take advantage of the functionality of that pair of headphones. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
I did not know that at all.
And it's the same thing for even audio cables. If you plug in audio cables, same exact process. Just because the connector plugs in doesn't necessarily mean it's the right connector. So you have to look, like, for example, if you're like, hey, I want to plug in a pair of headphones into a camera, your camera needs a certain kind of connector, the 2 and 3 band ones, for example. You can't just plug it in just because it has a single connector, for example. So you're going to want to keep in mind, pay attention to that.
That's right. That's
so let's bring on David. David has a question. David's question is, he wants to discuss running different social media at the same time. And by the way, while we're doing this, I'll bring in I'll look at the comments as well. But David, thanks a lot for joining us. For this
hey, how's everybody doing?
Hi.
I think I have mine set on green screen, probably still in the background. Looks like from StreamYard. You can see the little smiles.
Yes.
Let me just take it off there. And
hold on. Do you have a green screen behind you, or is this?
No, it's just my military stuff. So I think I have in my settings. Cam mic. Here we go. Let me shut it off.
Thank you for your
service.
service.
There we go.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, I was like, you got an awesome green screen. Otherwise, I was like, that's pretty good.
I appreciate it. Appreciate your time, both of you, for taking some questions for me.
Yeah, sure. So what can we answer for you?
Real quick. I mean, I have a staffing company. It's called, Results Staffing, and I do a lot of LinkedIn live shows and for staffing. So what I find is when I run, like, your YouTube, your social media, then your personal, then 2 LinkedIn's, or you can only run 1. Does that affect utilizing 4 versus utilizing 2? Do you understand? Does that make sense?
Elaborate a little more on that.
Like, does it take away when you're using 4 or 5 networks all at once? And you have your phone, you have your laptop set up, you can see comments going here, comments going here. Does it affect the speed? Does it affect anything versus would I be better off just going LinkedIn and YouTube instead of LinkedIn, YouTube, 2 Facebook pages? Does it do anything the difference there?
I think the key thing is going to be to make sure your internet quality is good to support that. The other side to it is that a lot of people, there's a lot of people that say, like, oh, well, hey, you shouldn't do this because Facebook punishes you for streaming to all these places. It's a myth. It's something that a lot of people always said, like, well, hey, like, one article published it. It's like, well, no, it's not true. So I don't think it really impacts it from that perspective. I think, though, that, like, if you're streaming and you're not seeing the results by streaming to all those places, then I would consider scaling it back.
That's true.
Finding where's my tribe, my community, where are they at? Because I want to spend the most time with those people.
Well, that's why I've separated it now. I do like LinkedIn and YouTube because the audience is different. Even though I do videos, everybody on my Facebook page for the business, I try to do that separate now because it's a different audience.
Yeah, it is.
So I've learned nobody wants to listen to me unless they're looking for a job. And I find being more angry, the more negative I get, the more results I get. That's the funniest thing.
Yeah,
it could be boring, but I like to tell it the way it is in the staffing company, and it works. But I don't like to always be negative. But one last question too is I'm going to be doing next week. I have a hunter. I've never done it before. He's got a great room that he's all around the world. I'm going over to his house. I haven't tried it yet, but when you put 2 people and we want to have his background of all these animals and everything, is it okay with 2 people or is it better with 1? Have you tried that?
Like 2 in the same room or what's
I want to sit next to him because we want all the animals and all the, oh my God, alligators and bears. And so he's a real avid hunter and it's educational. That's why I try to keep it. But I want to be able to sit next to him in his room because it's amazing. And I was wondering if I'm going to have issues with that, with having, somebody just clicks live and then we're both sitting there. I've never seen somebody do 2 at once.
I think so. I'll go to answer this, Leticia, and then you can chime in. So
absolutely.
I think that if you're going to do that, you're going to need if you're just doing like headset mics, for example, like just headphones or something, then I think you're going to have some audio feedback because you're both going to be sitting next to one another and one's talking, the other's talking. I think there's going to be some feedback there. So what you may want to consider doing is having, for example, like if you've got like a Blue Yeti, for example, they have different mic patterns, so you can put it in between you and it can be omnidirectional. So it's going to pick up every little thing around you, but it's going to allow the 2 of you to talk without talking over one another and kind of garbling that. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And that's what I'm a little worried about it, but we're going to try it and see what happens. Cause I want to get that magnitude of that background, and he's an author. So he wrote a book about it. So I want to be able to open it up. And they're the kind of things, whether or not I've never done that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you also got to look at because it's also about your environment too. Like you don't want to pick up the sound and the noise of the animals, like walking back and forth, and the lions may growl or something, So that's like I've done events before, virtual events before in person. And I was like, oh man, I wish I invested in like some type of mic and had all the guests have a mic on, because when you watch it on the replay, it's like everything is like sounds so muffled and you hear everything. People even like putting sugar in their coffee. I even picked up on that noise. So that is important, especially if this is content you want to use forever on other platforms. So yeah.
Can you put 2 people in the same, if I wanted to do it, and then I'll let you go. I appreciate your time.
Yes, I know.
Can I put him on his laptop and myself on my laptop and talk in the same room?
If it depends on the mic.
Okay.
It's gonna depend on the mic pattern. So for example, and I'm not telling you to go get another mic.
No.
But for example, if you're using the Blue Yeti, it has various patterns. So some of them, for example, will just pick up the mic on the front. And if you position the mic correctly, then it should be pretty good. You put that on with some headphones and it will not pick up as much around you.
Okay.
But there is an option where if you turn it to like omnidirectional is going to take, like, if this is the mic, it's going to pick up everything around it. So that way you can speak into both sides of the mic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because, Leticia, these animals are not alive. Put it that way. They're not alive. That's okay. He's got it all around the world. And he made a specific room, a den. It's amazing. 12-foot alligators and it's bobcats and elk. Oh my God. But all right, they're the kind of questions that I was looking for about the 2 people. I was a little bit worried. I'm trying to figure out the best way. I really want to do it well for him.
Yeah.
And whether or not I'm better off just doing it from here and him doing at his house. And
to your point, here's what I'm going to so I'm speaking into my microphone right now. It's not picking. I mean, granted, there's nothing out front of me, but there's no noise coming in that way. Now, if I turn my head this way, I'm going to keep talking. You can notice there's not much of a difference there, right? Because now that I'm coming back into the pattern. And if I go the other way, because the mic's facing this way, you're going to probably not hear a whole lot, I think. So you have to kind of look at the type of mic you're going to use and make sure it's the right kind of pattern. Like this is great for podcasting. Like it's why, for example, when you watch some of the bigger shows, like they're using these types of mics because it's also filtering out everything else around them. And then when you run them into mixers, things like that, they have noise canceling, all that other stuff. So if you're in the same room and you're using like say headphones with mics on them, then I would recommend being in a different location because you're going to pick up feedback.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I want to do it right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate both your times. I really do for taking me on here.
This is great.
Thank you.
This is really good. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Michael said that he has a dual mic set up for my phone. Yep, I've seen people do that. Those dual mics. Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. So let's go through Clarine. We're going to have you here on in just 2 seconds. Let me just read through some of these comments. Let's see. So Michael says, suggests lavalier mics, designed to do that without the sound in the same room. Sorry, do that with the sound in the same room. Yeah. So if you have a lavalier mic, it's designed to also, it's picking up for the most part just what's here. Some of them do pick up a little bit outside, but that could be useful. By the way, also one other thing that he could do, I don't know if he's if he has the equipment, but the Rode Wireless Go, they're little wireless receivers. I should also have one of those. I should go get that, I guess. But they're little receivers, and they have the ability to pair up 2 of them together. So they have so you can actually put them on the camera, and one person can have one on, one person can have the other, and they're feeding back into the camera feed. So that's one option as well. Let me see. A couple other questions here. Let's see. And I totally missed some of your comments, by the way, and questions. So if you have a question, just put #ask, and I promise I will go through as many of them as I possibly can.
That's right.
Can you stream a concert in StreamYard? Good question. Let's see. So that's an interesting question. I think you could, but I would also caution, because it's going to go back to the music that you and I talked about earlier, Leticia.
Yeah.
Like if you're streaming a concert, make sure you have the rights to stream the concert.
That's right.
So, if it's, for example, if they're playing any sort of music and it's, if it's music that people are going to know, chances are YouTube or Facebook or whatever platform you're streaming to is going to pick up on it, and they may flag it, even though it's somebody playing it on a piano and, playing musical instruments. They may pick up on that and flag it and mute the audio. So just keep that in mind.
Even though you purchased a ticket for the concert, it doesn't mean you could play it.
Yes, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's like, hey, I'm streaming a church production or a theater production or whatever it is, but would like to know.
Even if you are at church, a lot of people are getting out of streaming, while at church, because even though the choir is singing like a, Jacqueline Kerr song, is still, they're singing it, but you can't record it on social media because, you don't own the rights to it.
One other question real quick, then we're going to bring on Clarine here. Iqbal Kanji Mian is asking, streamers not support on mobile devices Facebook group live. So you can go live from mobile. You just there are certain features that don't work on mobile. And then on the other side, the other thing that also factors into it, if it's on like a Facebook group, they're usually there's a disclaimer that has to be added. And this is a Facebook requirement that in order to show like somebody's name and their profile photo, for example, instead of just Facebook user, you do have to authenticate with them. So that's that. I'm not sure if that's what you mean by that, but just let us know. Let's see. And then one other question. Let's see. And by the way, remember, put #ask. I'm having to read through all of these. So let's see. How do I get what? Go ahead. Yeah.
Kathy said, what licensing is needed for a live concert streaming? Well, it doesn't have a lot to do with, you have to own the rights to whatever it is that you're playing.
Right. For the most part, you do have to own the rights. And then if it's, and then I think depending on the organization, organizations have certain licenses that they can buy. So like, I know that I think like churches have a certain license that they can purchase. A nonprofit has a certain type of license they can purchase, and so forth.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about the production necessarily that it is. Like, if you want to share what that is,
come on the screen. Yeah.
We'd like to know for that. Yeah. Either come on the screen or just leave the comment below. Okay. I know there's a ton of other questions here as well. But let's bring on Clarine here. So Clarine, I think you have a question. Let me see. Is there a way to rotate the banners and overlay so you don't have to waste time pulling the right ones at the same time, right time during my show? Okay, so Clarine, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. Hello.
Thanks for being patient, by the way.
No worries. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. So I'm not a tech, so I've been soaking it in. So no worries.
So what questions do you have?
Well, I wanted to share a resource to everyone as well regarding one of the topics before of how to keep the flow of the program going. I have a resource sheet I've created for my guests that may be helpful to people. So if you let me share my screen, I can, but we can get to the question first and I'll share that, and more than happy to give the actual document to people to use, but or for them to mimic. But so for the question you read, like, so during my lives, because as I think who was on before who talked about he does his by himself. And so trying to manage the chat and everything, yeah, it's hard. But even with the overlays, so then, you know, as you build new overlays per episode, like trying to get them quickly for when you need them, because you can't rotate them. At least I don't know how to rotate them within the broadcast in the studio. So is there a way to do that with the overlays as well as the ticker banners?
So the banners, you can move those around. You can just, the banners you just drag and drop.
Okay.
So
what about?
Let me see if I can show you that one real quick. So the banners you can drag and drop the. Let me see if this is the right one here. And then the let's see if I'm sharing the right one. Yeah. Okay. So let me bring this up. Okay. So as far as the banners, so I'm over here in the banner section. So these, I can move these around. I just simply drag them.
Oh, good, good. Okay.
That'll let me reorder those. Now, as far as the overlays and things like that, we don't have drag and drop support on that yet. It's a feature request. We get a lot of people asking for it. What I always recommend doing is, for example, I always try to upload them in the order that I want them to be in. And then also remember, there's also this folder option here at the top for brands. So you could set up different brands as well. So if you're like, hey, I've got brand, you know, A, like for example, as you see here, we've got different stream shows that we run. We go in and we add different brands so that we get our brand colors and whatnot specific to that one. Does that make sense?
It does. But so as I'm in an episode, instead of going back and forth into different folders, because it makes it like a lot to coordinate, especially if I have a guest and trying to be in real time present with them.
Yeah.
When I have static banners that I use all the time, right? But then there's banners in that I'm adding for each episode. And so how to get them higher up in the process or in the order that I will use them so that I'm like not going crazy, like trying to do the shuffle thing.
So I think the one thing I try to do is I try to put everything under one folder, like for that specific show.
Okay.
Like, for example, like there's always going to, like every week I'm going to have my intro thumbnail, and I've got, for example, I've got some of these like, hey, if we want people to like and subscribe, or I've got this one, for example, for our Facebook group. So I've kind of put them in the order I wanted it. Like I have the standard ones I know I'm going to always use. And then at the bottom, I keep the ones that I'm going to potentially rotate in and out. And then after each show, I actually go in and I delete these. I know like you want the ability to reorder them. I put in a request for it. So again, I mean, I'm not developing all of this specifically, but I can tell you it's on our roadmap.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know. I eagerly await for it to become an option, but it's good to know. So at least with the banners, that's there, but not yet for the overlays.
No, yeah, definitely. But it's noted. So, okay. So, and then you mentioned you have a graphic or something you want to share.
So it's a Word document that I provide guests. And so let me just even back up. So I just launched my LinkedIn live show this month. So it's every second and fourth Tuesday. It's called Imposter Syndrome Disrupted. So I'm a LinkedIn coach, trainer, speaker, author, but my show is all about my experiences in having predominantly female entrepreneurs who have struggles with really leveraging LinkedIn because of their resistance to shine, so to speak, or really stand up and own their boldness, their greatness, their expertise. And so my show is really dedicated to women entrepreneurship and spotlighting clients and their experiences that I take them through. Yeah. So with the show, though, so I launched it on the 12th. And so I've had 2 episodes this month. Phenomenal response so far, but I want to keep growing that. But so I had my first guest this past Tuesday. I'm sorry. So she really appreciated the one page document that I shared in advance to help keep her or have her comfortable with the flow of the show, what she needs to do or be prepared for. I'm more than willing to show that. And then if anyone wants the document, they can just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm more than willing to share it.
Cool. Do you happen to have a direct link as well to that at all? I mean, if there's a way to share that.
I don't have a direct link to it. It's just a document I created, and then I sent it as an email in advance. So when I send her the link to the StreamYard broadcast, I send or her, whoever the guest will be, I send the document at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you happen to have it handy, feel free to send us and we'll get it out to people. So awesome. Fantastic.
Right.
Any other questions?
Questions. No, just thank you though. I'm not a techie, so I've enjoyed this conversation on all the tips and information. StreamYard rocks. Like seriously, I'm usually on Sunday evenings because the yard seriously is the best.
The best.
I appreciate the information to make it user friendly for us broadcasters.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us and thanks for being patient backstage. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so let's go through some more questions. Remember, hashtag ask. Did I miss anything, Leticia? I know I've got. Let's see. Can we talked about the streaming of a concert. Let's see.
Somebody said, "Can you move banners between brands?" I don't think so. That'd be a good idea, though.
Not actually, but that's a good idea. Let me make a note of that one real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. And someone suggested deleting the old banners. That's definitely important. So before I even do, I love the fact that StreamYard allows us to schedule out our shows, especially on YouTube. You can schedule out like 10 days in advance, I think, right? But I always have to remember, let me go back in early to delete all these old banners I had and upload the new ones. So that is important. Oh. A lot of y'all giving some great advice too. Go ahead.
Remy, if you want to join us backstage, just drop the link. Just click that link and then I'll bring you backstage.
Hey, Remy.
So we're not full yet. Let's see. Okay, so we have there's a question here about monitoring. Let me see. So Facebook user here, I made a note about being able to move banners back and forth or between like folders and things like that. So that's a good question. I put it in as a feature request just now. Let's see. So there was a question about being able to monitor headphones. Let's see. Master library pull graphics into specific episodes. Okay, let me make a note of that as well. Can you go through the comments while I'm doing this, Leticia?
Someone said, Rosalind mentioned, is there any way that using Google Docs when sharing it doesn't go directly into the feed? Explain that a little bit more so we have more clarity on that. Brett, somebody asked about green screens, and they're noticing that when they're using a green screen, it has a lot of the fuzziness and stuff. If you change your lighting, that will definitely be something that will how to get rid of the holes in my face while using green screen. Yeah, definitely check out your lighting. I know for me, if I wear a certain color of eyeshadow and I'm using my green screen, it's gonna the picture's gonna show up on my eyes. So be careful. You can't use a lot of greens, a lot of blues, certain shades of colors. That does affect the green screens as well.
And by the way, I also I just dropped the link. I think we talked about this last week or on one of the previous shows.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about like lighting a green screen. So if you notice, so for example, if you run a green screen, you notice like David had the thing earlier. His had some like little objects that were kind of moving around. It was just not properly. He had the green screen feature on, and it was not really green behind him. So one thing you'll want to do is you'll want to check your lighting. One way to do that, there's an app. You can set up the green screen, set up the lighting, and you can open the app, for example, on an iPad, and it will. It's called Green Screener, and it will. It'll give you an idea of what parts of the green screen need to be better lit. So that's something to keep in mind. Keep going through the comments real quick. I'm gonna also
when I use share screen in Google Slides, it shows up directly into the broadcast, and I just want it backstage and add it when I'm ready. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like I do that where I have a slide and you can leave it like on the bottom of the screen and then put
Yep.
add to screen or add to show. So you
Yeah.
can take it on and off your screen. Absolutely.
So let me find that setting. Actually, that's a
Yeah,
setting. Let me
that's a
find
good
where it's
question.
at. Here it is. Okay. So let's see. How can I do this? Okay. So I'll share the, or I'm going to share my screen and then you'll see exactly what
Yeah.
we got going on here. So, and then I'll show you how to do this. And then we'll bring in Zane. Zane's got some questions. Kathy's got some questions. Zane, sorry, Remy also has some questions. And then I think there's plenty more actually.
Yeah.
So let me share my screen and then you'll see this. So let's bring. Okay, so I think this will work. So I'm going to share my StreamYard screen. And then what you're going to see now here, so you should see my StreamYard screen. And then I'm going to click on, let me know if you don't see this actually. So we're going to click on cam. Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to see cam mic settings. We're going to go to general, and then there's this option to automatically add shared screens to stream. So right now I have that not checked. So when I check that box and I share a screen, it's going to pop right into the broadcast. However, if I have it unchecked, it's going to pop up here in the bottom here. So it's a little tricky in the sense that when you just have to remember when you have it on and off, because otherwise it's going to sit here and you're not going to remember, oh, it's not in the broadcast yet.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the best way to add that in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go through two more questions and then we're going to bring on Zane. Let's see. Let's see. So I like this tip, by the way, from USA Livestream. When you get a blue mic, a Yeti, blue Yeti, there's a foam cover. It's actually, I think it's in the box actually. But there is a foam cover. You want to make sure you put that over your screen. It's basically like this as well. It helps to minimize some of the reverberation that's happening. It helps give you a cleaner sound. Helps kind of soundproof things a little bit. I don't say soundproof entirely, but it helps for the most part. So like if you're on a desk, depending on the type of desk you're on, your audio is not hitting the desk and bouncing back and creating like a hollow effect. Let me see.
You see John's question? His is about a little more techie.
Let me find out. Is that the bottom or is it the?
It should be a little towards the bottom. He put
John,
hashtag ask.
The cloud lifter, is that what he's asking? Is that the one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is the SE Electronics DM1 Dynamite 1-channel active line preamp. Yes, that is what I'm using. I went with that one because what it does is it provides a number of decibel higher for this microphone. So I initially had it set to like 30 something decibel on my mixing board, and then it wasn't enough. So if I increase it too much, it was then clipping. So then this adds 20, 30 something decibel to it. But then what I just have to do is lower the decibel on the mixing board. So that'll take care of that, but works fantastic actually. Okay. So let's answer Diego's question here real quick. And then we're going to bring on Zane. So Diego says, hey, I don't hear my audio when I wear headphones. Can I change that? Okay. So part of that's part of that depends on how you have your audio set up. Like, are you just plugging into a laptop? Are you plugging into a mixer? For example, I've got a Rodecaster Pro that I'm using here, and I have in the back, I can plug directly into channel 1 and hear like I can hear you all, but I'm not hearing myself, for example. And then now, but I am running mine into the front now, and that allows me to monitor all of my channels. So that's so it's going to come down to your setup, the type of like what you're plugging your audio into, and there's different cables you can get and whatnot to do like different loops and things like that. Let me see. So Belagnon Simone, why am I paying for the green screen separately and I'm on professional plan? Not sure exactly on that question, but I would say if it's a billing question, for example, or something like that, go to streamyard.com/contact. Send them your question there and they'll definitely get back to you. They can look more into the plan. I don't have access to that. So, okay. So let me think what else we got here. Okay, cool. So we got questions. Let's go and bring on Zane. Zane says, the logger shows, how do you increase audience engagement? Good question. Very good question. So let's bring on Zane. Zane, good to see you again. Tell us who you are, what your show is about, and what's your question.
Hey, Zane.
Hi, everyone in the chat, my two favorite hosts as well. And thank you so much for having me. My name is Zan, and I have a YouTube channel about how to make money from Amazon and eBay, basically.
Okay.
And my question today is like, once you are live streaming, what is the best way to increase the audience engagement?
Okay, so do you want to take that one, Leticia?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to, promote the show. Okay, so whenever you are going live, I had to, for a long time I had to get out of just hitting that go live button and doing the live. I had to say, you know what, I got to look at this as a business. I got to really take this and come up with a plan. So it's like, before you do anything, any live, any shows, you want to make sure that you promote it. Like, you let everybody know what time you're coming on, what you're going to be talking about. You have it scheduled out. If you have an email list, you're letting them know. I mean, just getting the word out there. That's important. As you are doing the show, it's always good to ask your audience questions. Hey guys, are you getting this? Guys, don't forget to share this out. Invite someone in here that you feel that would need this information. What questions do you guys have? Also, we also got to remember that it is a live show. So you want to make sure that you're not ignoring the chat. You're not ignoring people who are coming in. Obviously, you don't want to spend too much time on those interruptions, but you do want to spend a little bit of time on that. And I mean, it just boils down to that as well. And also making sure that you reach out to people, letting them know to go back and watch the replay as well. I know we talked about something earlier that was very much so important about, now is the time where someone had mentioned in the comments, there's so many virtual shows going on. There's summits, there's lives and things like that. And even scaling back, sometimes you may have a really good show that you're doing 7 days a week. You may say, you know what, let me do this once or twice a week and just build up marketing around that show so that more people can show up for that day. Or more importantly, more people can go back and watch that replay. So that way you're building up more viewership for that one particular day. And being consistent at it. That's very much so important, and having a plan. Like, what do you want people to do after the show? What do you want people to do during the show? You know what I'm saying? What do you want people to do before the show? You may have a show that you want to promote, and you talk about it, you build up marketing before the show, and then you may say, well, I want somebody to fill out a questionnaire because I want to answer their questions while I'm on the show. Or after the show, is there a call to action that you want them to go to? Is it something that you're selling, or a Facebook group you want them to go to? So all that is important, that we do have to sit down and think about, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want people to do before the show? What do I want people to do during the show? And then what do I want people to do after the show? Yeah.
And I'd also add, I mean, like, okay, so the key things are going to be like, first off, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to do a longer live stream. So one thing I would do is I would look at my analytics and see if there's a drop off point. So for example, if you're going to, like, for example, this show, I mean, we're an hour and a half in, we've got a pretty good number of people tuning in, actually, which is pretty awesome. So what I'm doing is, while I'm doing this, I'm looking at that saying, hey, you know what, when I start to see it drop to, like, let's say it drops to like 10 or 20 people, like, if I notice it goes like, really high and then just a cliff, then okay, I'm going to start to maybe wind this down. But I would look at my analytics and see, like, if I do a couple of shows, like, when are people dropping off, so that I can ensure that I'm trying to get the best stream out there. And then the other thing also is, remember, I mean, if they're not tuning in for the live, look at your replay numbers and see, you know what, like, did you get more people watching the replay versus the live? Because it might suggest that the content is better for a pre-recorded video as opposed to a live video. So you do have to kind of look at that, like, what you're producing. Also, like, if the information is something that, like, for example, should be like a 5-minute YouTube video, why make a 2-hour live stream when you could just do a 5-minute pre-recorded video and get, and answer those questions quickly, so that somebody doesn't have to now, like, go through the whole thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you got to look at your times too. So if you are, I'm not saying you particularly, Zane, but let's say if you are in a business where you want to help women quit their jobs and build businesses, don't show up when they're working. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta also, and there's some shows where in the beginning I was playing around with the times. I'll show up at 8 o'clock, or I would change to showing up at 10. So it is good to like sometimes play around with your time, because maybe the audience you're targeting, they may be busy around the time that you are going live. So that is important too.
So, do you
Yeah,
have any other questions?
that's excellent tip, really. So I don't really have much problem people not showing up for the show.
Okay.
The mainly because the shows go for about 2 hours, and I only do this on Sunday 7 p.m. and I believe that's the best time for the content that I do.
That's good.
And in the beginning, let's say like for the subscriber and amount of people who have subscribed to my channel, I will have an initial around somewhere about 60 to 100 people showing up for the show, which is really, really good.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't have all those people sticking with me for those 2 hours. So people are just consistently changing. And the main problem is because this is a Q&A, and all they care about, they just want to have their question answered. And even though from the beginning I say, even though I'm answering other people's questions, that might add value to your it might have some value for you as well. So that's the main thing I'm struggling about, that when the people get their question answered, they are out of the place. How can I still keep them inside the show?
Yeah.
So that's going to come down to partly, I think, structure as well of the show.
Mhm.
So for example, like if it's Q&A, maybe instead of like doing, like, for example, we're sort of struggling, I guess, with this, is that don't, like, how can I put it? Like, don't just do like, maybe don't do Q&A like at a certain, like at the beginning of the show, for example. Maybe make it, maybe you want to flip the model around
Have
to
a
where
topic. Yeah.
people aren't having to do all the, like, if they can go on just for Q&A for like 5 minutes, then there's no incentive for them to stay on necessarily. So if you're taking Q&A throughout, for example, and you have an active show, I think that it can help your broadcast and get those people to stick around more. I mean, remember, you can't control people. So the only thing you can do is provide good information, the best information, so that they want to keep sticking around. So it's not just like, oh, they get their one question answered. If it's a process, for example, if it's a tutorial, do the tutorial and then hold the Q&A towards the end, for example. So then that way, like, you're able to focus on the tutorial and help people, and you're going to get questions in the middle, and you can leave it at the end where there's tons of questions people can ask.
Yeah, I do that for my weekly shows too. I leave it to the end, the Q&A.
Yeah, that's it really. I mean, last week you gave me advice to manage the team, and that's been something. I am on the top of that now.
What are you doing
It's good.
differently?
So I'm using a Notion actually, and that's the thing I'm using to, like, I have designed like a timeline for them, and it's working really great. And Notion have this amazing template inside. And then also my brother, who is in the army, and I asked him like how to manage the team as well, and he said, well, you have to tell them, just do the thing.
Yeah.
So I had a main problem when I design all the template and everything. So the people, I have like a team of 6 now. And I said, okay, well, this is the time. This is 1 hour. You have to come. I'm going to explain you the new timeline. And this is the way it's going to be, because I have no time literally going back and forth on the WhatsApp. So this is the way it is. And if you want to follow it, that's great. And if you don't want to follow it, then I might find somebody else who will follow it. So that worked really good. And thank you so much for that advice. It's working great now.
Thank you. I was actually thinking about you the other day about that. So I'm glad you're getting a lot of good, breakthrough with that. Amazing.
So
that's it. Sorry, Chris. No, sorry. Go on.
I was gonna say, what was that? You were asking what, Jeff, another, I was gonna say thanks for joining, but I didn't know if you had any other questions.
No, I don't have any other question. I was just saying thanks for having me. So I will just kick me out, and that's it.
You can stay. You can come back on. It's just
I
I'll make sure I get to all these questions, because Kat and Remy have both been really patient. So
thanks. Sure. I mean, that's all the question I had. That's all really.
Oh, thanks so much, and keep up the good work with your, with finding somebody to help you run your show. So, Michael, I don't know. You said my audio's
Yeah,
little
there
low.
was. He was saying that.
I don't know. Is anyone else? It sounds fine to me, but I don't know. You guys let me know.
I hear you.
I haven't changed anything. I mean, it's the same setup I'm always running for the most part. So, just let me know. So,
Is anybody else hearing low sound from Christian? Let us know in the chat.
huh?
Zane said it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't hear myself, so I don't know how loud I am, but I can hear you, both of you, really clear.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
weird. Let me see.
Is it Shure SM7B? You
It is,
do have a
Yeah, they
cloud
say.
lifter on it as well.
Yeah, they said. Yeah, it is Christian.
Huh?
I found a really interesting hack. I'm using Rode anti-USB, so I was recording my audio file separately and video file separately. And now, because the Rode NT-USB have a headphone jack where you have a zero latency monitor in there. So now I use this one as my output and I plug that in straight to my camera.
Oh.
So this is actually, rather than I'm using a headphone, I monitor my voice, I connect that direct to my camera, and I can adjust the volume from here to get the right balance.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm able to record within just one file, rather than putting everything together later on. So that was very interesting hack as well.
Yeah, your sound
Because
sounds awesome.
this is the USB mic now, and I'm just coming from a USB. But once I'm recording a video, I was recording with a different file and then putting them together. But now I'm just using a 3.5 jack to straight into the camera, and that's really working good as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
How's this? Is this changing? Just let me know if it changes something. I haven't done anything differently.
No,
I have been adjusting this, but let me know if that sounds any better.
No, I can hear you fine. I mean, and still, I've been watching ever
Huh.
since you were live, so I never really. It
Okay.
is same. It is consistent, and we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah. Jules
Really
said
strange.
it's better.
I don't know. I mean that's the one thing. I mean, with the live stream, so it's like you can have the same
they
setup
said
the whole
that's
time.
better. They said that's better, Christian.
The only thing I did was I increased the gain by 1 decibel. That was it. So not really sure, but I appreciate everybody for helping me actually fix that. So Zane, thanks again for joining us, coming in, and asking your questions. Again, be sure you join us again next week as well if you have other questions. So thanks.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. See you next week.
Anytime. Thanks. Okay, so interesting. Wow. So I know there were a couple questions here real quick. So I know John was asking about the cloud lifter. So yes, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to point. This red thing is the DM1. That's what I'm using. And then my gain is set to 9 decibel on my audio interface. That's plugged directly. Obviously, in this case, it's plugged directly into the mic. I don't know if you can plug this directly into the Rodecaster. I haven't tried that. It was recommended to me to plug it into the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So what else? Do you have any, are you seeing other comments, Leticia?
Other than the mic, no, but I'm scanning through to see if we missed anything. Oh, the cloud lifter question I see. Let me see who said something before that.
So I know go ahead.
Daniel said she made a good point. If you're having fun during the show, it's important. Yeah, it is important to have a little fun. Will wants to join. The link is in the comments, Will.
Yeah. So Will, definitely, if you want to come in, I dropped the invite link in there. So please do us just do us a favor, click on the link and come backstage. That would be helpful. And by the way, so if my audio is not good, I'm going to pop out and come back in, but you let me know. If I get like 5 people to tell me it's too low, then I'll pop out. If they tell me it's great, I'll stay. So let me know.
Sounds good to me.
Diego,
All
by the way,
right.
good luck with your show today as well. Tonight. Yeah, definitely apply some of the tips you're learning. And again, if you have questions, make sure you also keep joining us next week as well. We're gonna do this at the same time.
That's
Okay.
right.
So audio seems to be good. So let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna bring on Kat. Kat, she wants to know if specific license for her show since it involves artists. So let's learn more about what Kat has, what kind of show she's producing, and then also what her specific question is about licensing. So Kat, thanks a lot for joining us. How you doing?
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
How
Yes,
are
we can.
you? But only Leticia. This is really amazing. This is the first time I've actually been on one of your live videos. This is wonderful. My question is, a little bit about myself. I am the host of Friday Night Live. I spotlight artists from different genres and also business owners in our community. And I also have a new segment with health and wellness that we've just started. We do giveaways, we do encouragement corner, and it's like a whole hour of family fun. It's on a positive platform. And so my question is, should I have a specific license since I am having live artists from different genres on my show? And
So what do you mean by artists? Let's talk about artists.
Yeah.
so I have saxophonists, I have instrumentalists, I have singers, and
Okay.
they're different. They could be gospel, they could be contemporary, they could be R&B. They're just all over. The only artist I have not had, but I'm open to it, is rap.
Okay. Are any of them, are they signed to any contracts? I guess that's the key thing with all of that, I think.
Most of them are national recording artists, and I have gotten dinged a couple of times on YouTube. And
Okay.
usually when I do, I reach out to them because they do send it to, I guess, the labeling company, and they clear it because it's their music.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I guess the one thing to remember is like the artist for the most part doesn't own their music for the most part. Like even if they're on a label and they perform the music, I think the label still owns it. I mean, it comes down to contracts for the most part. Some contracts, I know, like just having read a lot on this, I mean, they will say like, oh, hey, the artist does own this. Other times the label will say, hey, you know what, we own the license. Even if it's a big time artist, like they don't own their license to their music. They're just a performer per se.
Mhm.
So I mean, if they're a well-known artist or they're under a contract, I think you're gonna have to have. I think if it were me, I'd get a license because you don't want to get dinged by YouTube. And I know they have a sophisticated engine that they run for like everything, and so they can flag something even though it might not seem like something that they should flag.
Mhm.
So if it were me, I'd protect myself and try to get that license ahead of time. And I think someone mentioned earlier that you do have to, it can be a little tricky. So you may have to prepare ahead of time. So it's another thing to have to do. Does that make sense?
Prepare ahead of time for what?
Like, i.e., get it cleared first before you do it.
That's true. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. I agree.
What type of license do I need?
I actually, honestly, I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's an ASCAP license. ASCAP. There's let me see. So there's an ASCAP digital license background music to sell. So there's that. Let me see. So, and then it's also going to come down to like, I think how you're using it. Let me see. Yeah, there's an ASCAP one. There's a BMI one. There's performances of music on a website or mobile application. Yeah. So do you have anything you want to add, Leticia?
Yeah, I mean, I would leave that to them to research that as well. Like,
yeah,
if they want to be on your show and be on your platform, they need to have all that stuff taken care of before they even decide to appear. Because even though certain flags come up, you get cleared later. Sometimes you can get shut down because maybe you gotten 20 flags or slashes against your account this month, and they just happen to just be like, you know what, let's just close your account. So I would leave it to them to get that information sent to you, but you'll let them know, listen, I need ASCAP, I need BMI, I need to, you let them know what you need, and they will give you the proper information to say, well, yeah, I have all this together, I could be on your show.
Okay.
And then
go ahead.
and then to that point, by the way, Joe is also mentioning depends on the owner of the music and who they license through. So and this, by the way, also, this doesn't just apply to like what you're doing, it also applies to, like, for example, if you're in the fitness industry and you're trying to do live stream fitness classes, it's the same exact process.
Same thing.
You have to have a license. You can't just put a speaker, I realize people want to do the scrappy method for that, and like, hey, I'll put a speaker next to it and I'll play some music, or I'll play something on Spotify or Apple Music. Same process. You don't own the music. So you do need to have a license to be able to do that.
Yeah, my brother's a DJ, and he gets a lot of artists to do different like skits for him, and he has to do the same thing. I can't play it on my stuff until he got the proper licensing from them. So yeah, I know it's hard. It's easier back in the day to do all this, way easier. Now it's just like so many restrictions. So I know why it's so frustrating. But that's why the people who come to you needs to have all their paperwork in place before they get on your shows.
Okay. The second part of the license question is, I am working on a live concert, actually. And I'm planning on streaming it during the same time that I do my show. So I would need some particular license to do that if I'm doing a lot at a venue, not virtual. It's going to be at an actual place streaming.
Yeah, I think you'd still need a license.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of times, like, I do events too, and I would just have people go to a Zoom link, and it is off, because the problem falls, and correct me, Christian, if I'm wrong, when we stream. But if we're doing something like on a Zoom and it's a private link and people get to watch, you record it, you send out the recording to your list, that's something different. But it's when we start to stream, that's where all these obstacles come up. Yeah.
And to John makes a good point here, well, a couple actually really good points here. So John makes a point of, it also applies if your show is for profit. So if you're making money off your stream, you may have trouble there, for example. And if you're making money, or if you're not making money, but you're a business, it's still classified under a certain license. So that's one thing to consider. And then also the beer ambassador OC Michael Woodward says it depends on which company the artist is with, ASCAP or BMI. You can have permission from the artist and still get blocked by YouTube. Absolutely. And that's also a similar thing. So Rosalind says, if you have a national recording artist, they wouldn't provide licensing. It's tough on the net to do live music. They're shutting down major artists performing their own music, but that comes back to the same thing. The artist doesn't own the rights to the music. It doesn't matter if the artist sang the song, they don't own the license for the most part. So it could be YouTube, for example, could have a partnership with Universal Music Group that owns the rights to those artists, for example. So if the artist is performing it, the artist is still basically, I don't want to say committing copyright infringement or whatnot, but they technically are, I guess.
Yeah, because
not their license.
Yeah.
I think you could also say that's a big reason why you don't see artists perform outside of, very specific events that they're doing, like they're doing a concert or things like that, because that's something that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? So if I'm like the artist, like, it's usually lined up with the group that owns the licensing, and everything's very, it's kosher, basically. It's all like done right, versus if they just went off to IG or Facebook or something and did a stream, then chances are they're going to run into an issue by performing that. So that might be why they don't do it as well. But yeah, it's so you're definitely going to have to do some research. I put some links in there for ASCAP and BMI. Joe Dexter mentioned some good comments, so he might be someone worth. We can always have him on, by the way, Joe, if you want to come on and talk about
Joe,
this.
definitely.
Let us know. But definitely some stuff to keep in mind. And then another quick point from John.
Saw that one.
I have a few friends that use closed groups on Facebook to stream live shows like trivia bands, and they don't run into issues. So again, closed, so it's not out there. And there's tons of services if you're looking for music. There's Epidemic Sound, there's Licked, LICKD. That's one option that Michael Woodward just mentioned. YouTube's got a YouTube audio library. So I realize it may not be the type of music you're looking for, but those are ones that you can can definitely license to use for live streaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
So does that help answer your questions?
It does. I just wanted to make sure that you all knew what I was saying. These are actually live artists performing their songs. Did you understand that's where I was coming from?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still going to come down to because partly every artist has it doesn't matter if they're performing their songs. It comes down to who owns the music.
The company. Okay.
Yeah, so it could, I can't speak to it because I don't know all the legalities, and I don't know who owns the music, but it could be the artist. And in some cases, it could be the artist is allowed to, and it could also mean that that the label that they're under owns it as well. So it may not be like, oh, well, let me ask the artist. They may have to go back to, who owns their contract. So.
Well, this does help. It helps me so I can go ahead and do my research and go ahead. I have a business license. I have all that, but it's just this other stuff. And so thank you for the information.
Anytime. We'll try to get better clarity on that. Because the question that comes up, people say, hey, I want to play music. It's not the act of playing the music. It's about making sure you're actually doing it the safe way for your business. So
I have to say, when I first got started, I tried Zoom. I tried Skype. But StreamYard actually works better for me as far as music and live music. I also have a hard drive actually connected to my station and everything, and that helps. But I really love StreamYard and what it offers. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
That is so amazing.
And yeah, there's looks like there's lots of good people here to reach out to, like Jewel Kitco. Check out Jewel. She says, when they perform on your show opposed to an interview, that's when it gets tricky. Your viewers will try to copy and stream without permission rights. Yep, same exact thing. Trademark attorneys speak to that too.
Yeah, get you that legal. Yeah.
Okay.
So lots of stuff to do. Yeah. And, so thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see what else we got here. So I know we got a couple people waiting backstage. Who was it? Was it Will Star? Will, do us a favor. I dropped the link in the comments.
Yep.
Just click on the link. That'll bring you backstage. I'm not sure if that's this person that's here, but okay. So let's do this. Let's see. And by the way, if you have, again, I do this because I want to help you improve your show. So if you're like, hey, this is my show, this is what it's about, and this is the challenge I'm running into, let us know.
Yep.
So it could be like, hey, I'm not sure what name to use. I don't know what hashtag to use for my show. I don't have a hashtag. Should I rebrand my show? Hey, I'm only getting 5 viewers on my show. What can I do differently? Or I'm streaming 24 hours a day. What do I do differently? All that sort of stuff. So the goal is to help you with your show. So if you come on, and you're like, hey, this is what my show is about, let us know and we'll do our best to give you some good guidance.
That's right.
Okay, let's see. Let me read Jesse's question here real quick.
I saw that was coming.
Okay, so Jesse's asking, considering option for live streams, does anyone know if there's a picture-in-picture feature? I do art demos and I like to be able to show the canvas I'm working on. Okay, so my recommendation for picture-in-picture, and there's 2 ways you can do this. The easy way is going to be to do this. It's going to be to take your smartphone, for example, and you can send yourself the StreamYard dashboard link, so the invite link. So kind of what I'm doing here to bring people on as a guest, I'm sending that to my smartphone, and then I can have that position. For example, that could be my main camera, or it can be my overhead camera. And then what's going to happen when I do that is it's going to show up as a second camera. So I'll sort of show you how to do this. So, okay, so I'm going to show you, this is the backstage area, as you can see here. Let me take your comment off. So this whole area down here at the bottom. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take the invite link that I get right here. So I click this, it's going to bring up the invite code. I'm going to send that to my phone, for example, and I'm going to have my phone maybe positioned above. So I'm going to send it there. That's going to bring in that camera feed into this bottom area on StreamYard. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to plug in a pair of old headphones or something into my phone. And once I do that, that's going to mute the microphone on that second camera. So I have one camera here. My phone, for example, I'm plugging in a pair of old headphones into the bottom of this. That's going to mute this. This is going to be my second camera. Okay. And then what I'm going to be able to do now is it's going to show up as a second camera down here on the bottom. And then I can bring them into the stream. And for example, I'm going to bring up, I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to bring up Leticia here, but I'm going to then switch to like, there's different views along the bottom, or you can make the one view like your one camera feed. Like I could be bigger or Leticia can be bigger. Like I can drag these around. So I could do it something like this, where I'm the one camera on the right, and then the one on the left that I'm demoing could be the bigger one. Hope that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, just let me know. So
I love that idea.
And then the second option you can use is you can use a hardware switcher. So I use a Blackmagic, an ATEM Blackmagic switcher, and that's a, you know, the downside is it's $300 to like $800. Now the benefit though is that you can plug in 4 cameras. So for example, I've only got one thing plugged in right now. Actually, let me see. Can I do this? You know what? I think I can. I'm going to try this. So let's see. Let me find the right things to plug in real quick. By the way, keep looking through the comments.
Yeah, sure will.
While I figure this out.
John asks, is there a time limit on intro music to where you won't get flagged? I don't really have the answer to that question. You mentioned you had a 10-second video. You have a 10-second video intro. I think I had like a 7 or 8-second video intro at one time, and I got flagged. Like Christian said, like the systems that these platforms are using are like highly sophisticated. So sometimes it doesn't matter how long it is or how short it is.
Yeah, they're definitely like super, like they're advanced. Like YouTube has had this system in place for years. So it's not like, oh, they just started this. They know what they're doing. So they monitor a lot of that stuff. So let me do this. Let me see if I can bring up my phone here. Okay. So for example, here, I'll show you, this is how it actually works. So let me just hide some of these notifications. Let's see. Just trying to figure out what I can pull up on here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just getting this ready, but yeah, keep going through the comments real quick and I'll show
you. Yeah, Andrew said to add a co-host. Do you just have them go to you want to send them to the guest link. If you want to co-host, you want to give them that guest link. Like before I came on here, Christian gave me the guest link, not the link to the actual live. Then have them sign in using my email address, then pass it. Oh, you mean like having like a moderator, Andrew?
Yeah, so there's different ways, I guess. So like the first question is, so you have to look at it like this. If I want, like, let's say I wanted Leticia to be able to do everything that I could do in my broadcast. What I want to do then is I want to have her log into StreamYard into my account. Now I'm not giving her my password. I just tell her, hey, here's the email, and make sure these are people you trust, by the way. So you send them the email address, and then she logs in, and it's going to say, we're going to generate a code. So it generates a 6-digit code. It gets sent to the account owner, and then I just have to give that to her, and then she will be able to log in as if she is me. Does that make sense? So that will give her the ability to control everything as if she's the producer as well, or co-producer. Now, on the flip side of that, if you want to give somebody the ability to come in as a guest, for example, if I wanted Remy to be able to come on, I'm giving her the invite option from the bottom of my StreamYard dashboard. There's an invite link. I give her that, and then she'll be able to come backstage, but she won't be able to manage the banners or anything like that. She can just come backstage. She can read the comments and things like that in the private chat and whatnot. So, okay, so there's that. Let me see if there's any other questions. So, well, you know what? While that's working, I think I got my understand all the
Andrew, come on the screen if you want us
just here. Come on screen.
Explain it further. That'd be best.
Okay, so one thing I want to do real quick. So I mentioned how you can switch cameras, and then someone has a question about whether, like, what's the point of multiple cameras? And then I see another question: is it possible to play YouTube videos on your stream? Yes. Okay, so I'll answer all of these here in a second. So one thing I want to show you. So for example, I have my phone here. I'll show you this first. So I have my phone plugged in right here. This is plugged in. So iPhone. I'm running this is an iPhone adapter, HDMI cable, and then this is actually running here. Let me get this right. So this is iPhone adapter, HDMI cable, and then this is running into my ATEM Mini switcher. Now the benefit to this is that I can easily just do this. So therefore now you're just seeing my screen, and I think I can rotate this sideways. Yep, I can rotate it sideways and whatnot. And so So that's an easy way to like easily share your screen. For example, in this case, I could solo it and you can see what's on my screen there, and vice versa. And this is just, for example, this is iPhone, but I can also plug in an iPad. I can plug in additional cameras, and then I just switch between them, for example. Now, the other cool thing about this is if I do this, so this is where like these switchers are super, super awesome. For example, I could do this, and let's say I'm like, hey, I actually now want to be on camera while I'm doing this. So if I click that, hey guys, so here I am on camera.
Wow.
So that's using a hardware switcher though. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And hardware switchers, you know, they're between $300 and $800. So just keep that in mind. So let me do this. Let's switch back to that. Let's put that back in, and then I'm going to switch my camera, and there I am.
Yep.
So that's how easy it is to do that. But as I mentioned, it's an additional cost because you have to have the hardware to go with it. So, you know, it means, for example, if you're using a webcam and you want to get a hardware switcher like that, a hardware switcher is going to require you to have a different camera.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that, Leticia. Just there you go.
That's okay.
So yeah, so just keep that in mind, but that's a good way to do it. Now, the other question somebody asked was, why would you want to do additional camera views? So do you want to take this one, Leticia?
I would do it because, for example, I'm about to do a presentation like on a dry erase board. So like on my desk, like I don't know if you ever watch Russell Brunson, how he sits there with a dry erase board on his desk, he doodles and stuff. I'm gonna do something very much so similar to that, like writing out my process from my email funnel. So I would use my phone to look down at my board on the table and use my webcam to continue to have me on the screen. So, and yeah, you guys can probably say, well, you could do a slideshow, but I like the style of writing it out and then as I'm talking, rather than just setting up a, you know, doing a slideshow deck. That's going to take me more time. I just want to write it out. So that's what I would use it for me in my industry. But like the gentleman said, he's an artist, so that would be great for him to do it that way, because he could actually, you know, show like his artwork and his painting and things like that, and still have a camera view on him as well. So absolutely.
Yeah, and I second that. I mean, that's another thing. I don't know if you saw it. Was it it wasn't last week. It was actually we did a Learn with StreamYard episode. Actually, let me see if I can pull this one up. It was, let me see. Actually, we were talking about countdown timers, right?
Yeah.
So let me see. Well, I'm gonna get the video to this real quick, but like we were talking about countdown timers on a Learn with StreamYard episode, and I was actually drawing on the show. So I was drawing on an iPad. So I had an iPad connected. In this case, it was connected to my ATEM Mini. And what I was doing was I was actually drawing on a mock-up that I had.
Yeah.
So I hope hopefully that helps everyone.
But yeah, that was a really
share
good
the video. You guys can check it out. It's let's see this video. And this is about countdown timers. But I demoed like how I was doing things. Like I actually had a screenshot and I was over there drawing, like putting arrows on things in real time.
Yeah.
So it was how to create countdown timers. And then it was also I drew a little bit on screen. So
yeah.
Let me see what else we got here. Is it possible to play? Remy, thanks so much for being patient, by the way. Is it possible to play YouTube videos on your stream? Yes. So what I would do is I would open up, I'd open up a browser tab, click on, so I'd go to the share screen option at the bottom of your browser when you're, of your StreamYard dashboard when you're logged in. Select the open YouTube tab and play the video that way. Some people will also, they'll download their own video, for example. Make sure it's your video, by the way. They'll download it and they'll put it into the, they'll drag the video into the tab and you can play it that way as well. Again, sharing it, but playing it through the browser tab. One other thing you really need to keep in mind, by the way, too, when you are playing a YouTube video, and this is going to go back to the same thing we talked about earlier. If there's any music in that video, and let's say it's owned by somebody, your video can get flagged. Your channel can get flagged for playing a video, even if the video is public on YouTube. So, for example, one thing I do is I always just mute the audio because then that way it doesn't play. But
yeah,
you do have to keep that in mind. I mean, big thing, because just because you're playing what you think is a public domain video, someone still owns the license to the music.
Yeah, and it's like, especially if you have a show where you're talking more about commentary content and like what's coming up current in the news or what's going on, just mute the sound and you could just talk over it. Like say things, okay, wait for it, it's about to happen now, or watch this, or this is when things are going to transition, where you're like talking over the content, but you're not really playing it at the time.
And then there's another question here real quick also from Joey. He says, I have a Rode NT USB mini mic. Is it okay to plug into your laptop directly, or do you need a mixer? From what I know, that doesn't need a mixer. But you also keep in mind, I mean, when you do use a mixer, it does potentially add in additional functionality. So for example, I've got a mixer. I'm using a Rodecaster Pro, and I have not just the ability to plug in one mic, I can plug in 4 mics. And then I can also, I can make a call-in show because I can connect a phone directly to this. I have sound pads built in as well. So I can, if I want to record a podcast or play intro music or sound effects or whatever, I can do that as well during that. So you don't need one, but it could be useful depending on the type of mic it is. Okay. So let's see. I think we got all the, let's see.
Someone should animated backgrounds be video files or GIF?
So we don't support animated backgrounds. So, so if you're going to want to bring in, like if you make a video, you're going to want to put it in the video clip section. Depending on the animated GIFs. So like that's going to be, it's a little bit of a unique process. So you can bring those into your broadcast actually. Let me see real quick. And the reason I say this is because, well, we actually just did a tutorial on this yesterday.
Yes,
on Learn with StreamYard. I don't know if you checked this out, but this was how to turn yourself into an animated GIF. It was actually really cool. So I wish I still had I deleted the animated GIFs we were using, but it was really cool. Really cool because basically we were able to bring them up on screen right there in the bottom corner.
Yes.
And it was awesome. So check that out. Okay. So with that, let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring on Remy. Remy, are you good? Okay. So Remy's good. So let's bring on Remy. Remy, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Hello. Hi guys. How are you?
Doing great.
So I know you, but tell everyone else, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so my name's Remy from Remio Digital. I'm a connections building expert, and I'm a business coach, but I focus really on teaching people how to connect to people like people, and to not go out into the world and be salesy, icky, horrible human beings. So that's kind of what I do. And I recently, this week, I've ran a 5-day challenge, my first one, and I use StreamYard. So I use StreamYard to do the daily tasks in the morning at 6 a.m. and then I use StreamYard in the evening to do master classes. So I've had 10 StreamYard outputs this week and it went brilliantly well. And I even used Backstage last night for the very first time. And that was a bit nervous about doing that. And it was funny what you said, Christian, because I kind of went to invite some of the women and the business owners to get on live with me. And then I was like, where do I invite them to? So I ended up sending it to a friend and then going to my phone and getting the link and dropping it into the stream. But it went really well, and StreamYard just made it so easy just to run a challenge and to engage with people, and people really love seeing their comments pop up on screen, and then other people would comment to the comments, and so it was just really nice. It just made my life a bit easier this week. Which is awesome. And also midweek, and I haven't done it yet, Christian, but this turned up.
Yes.
I was so happy.
Oh, look at this. Look at that. Very nice. I like that.
All the ladies, all the business owners were jealous because they're all like, we love StreamYard.
I know. I got the same thing.
That's
they were
awesome.
so jealous. So that was very cool. But anyway, so I what I wanted to say, it was 2 weeks ago when I joined you guys, there was somebody who came on, and I kind of, after going through the challenge this week, I kind of wanted to support one of the earlier requests, which was about being able to bulk upload overlays. Because every day when I was doing my masterclass, I had to delete all the old ones and upload all the new ones. So I just kind of wanted to support that previous request as well about bulk uploading overlays and bulk deleting, that would be awesome. And then that was all I was going to say and really show you my mug. But then you said something, Christian, which caught my attention. So I thought I'd ask you a business question if that's all right. So my challenge was called the Side Business Challenge, the 5-day Side Business Challenge. And the reason I called it that is because most of my one-to-one clients they all have a job and they have a side business. And that's my kind of ideal client audience, right? But within the challenge, this challenge was all about how to go out, find, attract and nurture leads and how to bring new leads into your business. And I'm wondering if I should rename it to more like a lead building challenge because that's what I'm teaching, or whether I should keep it as a side business challenge because that's kind of, and all the people that came in were all side business owners. So I'm a bit, I don't know which way to take this. So I
there's so many lead building challenges named built leads in 10 days. It's a lot with those names. So again, with that, I know you know this, it taps into the branding and the attracting and being that needle in the haystack with the title. So I like the side business challenge because it speaks to your audience. You know what that means. You have you have a 9-to-5, but you have the side business that you want to sort of allow all the ends to meet and make money on the side also with your day job. So I would keep it. I mean, you can always test it out and see how it works. But just so you know, when people type that keyword in, there's going to be a million other names as well. So you want to sort of, pay attention.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
And let's say you want to get you want to pay for the domain name for it and thinking like that, like the lead generation challenge, that name may be already taken. Versus having a side business challenge, you can purchase a domain or LLC for that. Actually,
that's cool.
One thing I want to quickly add on that also is, it's not to scare anyone there, but I'd make sure I looked at trademarks as well, because for example, even though you're like, oh, I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it, I'm going to call it the side business challenge. That may seem like, oh, no one will be able to trademark that, or nobody will trademark it. It could very well be trademarked.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know, for example, I think Entrepreneur Magazine, they've actually trademarked the term entrepreneur, and they've gone after people for using the term, and so somehow they were able to get a trademark. I don't know how, but but you do have to look at it and say hey, you know what, make sure I don't run afoul of that as well, because you're hey, and it's a great idea, but you want to make sure that someone else isn't already doing that, because then you are potentially infringing on them, even though you don't intentionally do it. I think the key thing is, okay, so you were debating between side business challenge and what was the other one?
Well, at the moment, I've just written down lead building challenge. I didn't really know how to make that more sexy, or lead generation challenge. But like Leticia said, it's kind of a popular term, but it's also a term that most business owners know what that means. So so I don't know.
So you have to look at it like this. Okay, so are they going to be people that are going to be if I'm a lead building or lead generation, for example, I kind of feel like that's a bit of a technical term.
Okay.
That if I'm a business, if I'm a I don't know if they're brick and mortar, if they're online businesses, but I think a lot of people might not really I don't think the brick and mortar is going to know what lead generation is, for example. I think they're thinking oh, I'm going to build my business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I kind of look at who's the audience I'm working with? Who am I and maybe even ask them if you've got people.
Well, this is it. The group and the community is still there for most of this weekend, so I'm going to pop that question in. But just on that, the term lead, as for somebody who's a connection building expert, I actually hate the word lead anyway. For me, it feels very transactional, and all that I'm doing is about encouraging people to treat people like people. When you start to use the terms lead, it's oh, you're part of you're coming into my funnel. It all feels very transactional, and I'm trying to make people operate in the world in a better way. But so the word lead itself kind of triggers me a little bit.
But and your current title speaks on the destination,
yes, there we go.
Speaks on that destination.
Okay.
Someone asked about your headphones.
My headphones.
So asking about your headset mic. She says, does it work good?
It works, but I hate it.
Okay, let's talk. No, this is good. So so for example, I've got in-ear monitors. You got a headset with a mic. Leticia, you got, are those headphones or Bluetooth or what are we running?
These are headphones.
Okay. Headphones. Okay. So what do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
Well, I got some oh, I don't have them to hand. But I have some earbuds as well. But again, like
Okay.
we said, the sound quality is horrible with those. It's not great. So this gives the greatest sound quality for me. But I hate the look of it, and I also I feel like when I have the headphones on, it creates not a barrier, but again, I'm all about connections. When somebody's looking at somebody with a headset on,
Yeah.
it kind of makes me not less human, but I want them to feel like I'm their friend rather than I'm lecturing at them or I'm in teacher mode.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I don't like this, but it's my setup for now, and it will change eventually. But in terms of when I do podcasting and when I'm streaming, the sound comes out pretty good from these. So it's what I've got for now, but I'm looking to change it. And but I also don't want a big mic in my face.
Right. Yep.
So I'm trying to
I was
find
the same way. I was like, oh my God, I got to talk closer to the mic.
So I'm trying to figure it out. So I thought I'll buy these earbuds. That'll work. And then the quality is not great with those. So like, and maybe it might be that I get something that's overhead. I don't know, but I'm still finding my way. But these work for sure. But I just I think I don't know. I feel like a bit teachery and a bit lecturing when I'm wearing these. But then my personality is big enough that people know that I'm not lecturing at them and that I'm actually trying to help them. But yeah.
So a couple things, like if you went with so for example, if you went with the overhead mic, typically it's going to be on a boom arm. For example, it's going to pick up, that kind of mic is going to pick up just about everything around you. So just keep that in mind if you happen to go with that kind of mic.
Okay.
Lav mics, John Butler recommends, he says, hey, you can use a lav mic. Great. So that would go underneath here, and then it would pick up your audio.
Oh yeah.
Or pick up your vocals. So that's something to consider. But then also you have the headset. So now going back to the headset, so there's different kinds. I actually used to have I had a pair of over ear headphones that I was using, and they did really well for blocking out noise, but they were bulky and it didn't have the look I wanted to go for. So I went with these in-ear monitors, that basically look like this.
Okay.
And they go over my ear, for example. And then they, if I get the right cable and I run it correctly, I run it down my back. That's typically the way you're going to see it on stage. They run the mic down somebody's back, and then theirs goes into like a mic pack. In this case, this is a wired cable, but it's long enough to where I can potentially, tuck this out of the way. These are black. There's also clearer ones that they make. And then these actually, these were, I think, $70, $50 to $70. Can't remember exactly. But they do go up in price, and they seem like, they're just headphones, but they do a really good job of blocking out the noise while giving you that streamlined look that you want. So that it's not like, oh, hey, I got a headset on, or I got these big headphones on, because everybody puts but then that distracts potentially people. So, so you kind of end up with this kind of balance. You have people talking into the mic. Yeah. Like, for example, they're talking in their mic, and like, say they don't want all that stuff, then they plug in earbuds that go like right here, for example. Or, if they want to go with a much more clean look, that's where they would go with something like this. They'd have a mic. They might have a desktop stand, for example, for their mic, so that it's not in the shot. So they're able to focus on the person.
Yeah.
So,
okay. That's a lot to think about. I've taken some notes, so I will go and investigate. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
Anytime. Thanks a lot for joining again.
And the mug.
And enjoy your mug. Yes.
I love the mug. Thank you.
Do me a favor. Take your photo and use hashtag #LoveStreamYard. Would love to see that. So
I'll get that out today.
Okay. So live from, I can't read the whole name here, but we'll bring you here in a second. Rosalind has another question. Did the in-ears connect to my mixer? Yes. So my in-ear headphones are connected directly into my mixer. So I have these. The cables maybe like a couple of feet, and then I just recently added this. This is basically just an extension cable. So I had an extension cable here. This is, let's see if I can get this in focus. Let's see. I think I got it. Yeah. Okay. I think that'll work. So basically, this is the piece that's plugging into my headphone. This is my headphones. And then I've added pretty much a 6-foot extension cord. So that then allows me to run it, for example, down my back. and then I can run it directly into my mixer, and that's what I use.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so but again, I mean, and there is a Bluetooth option as well. I've shown that to you all before. There's a Bluetooth option for this as well. Those connect to your computer, and then it uses your computer system audio. So I don't necessarily hear everything from my mixer. So you can go with that option. The other thing to keep in mind is with this kind of like,
sorry, Joe said something funny. He said he always took his mixer off his desk. I can so relate to that. And everything falls down.
No, keep that in mind. But yeah, that's how I work. And then the other thing is when you're running a pair of these, also keep in mind they are and Joey, I think I answered your question, but I'll answer
you did
again.
Answer it. Yeah.
Just keep in mind when you do use like the Bluetooth models, you're going to want to keep them charged. So if you've got a really long stream, like I don't have to worry about the, knock on wood, by the way, because the power would go out. But like, I don't have to worry about the power going out because these headphones are just plugging into the mixer versus if I have a Bluetooth one, they might not have a 5-hour battery on them, for example, if they're, used for example, audio for production or something. But you do have to keep that in mind. To Joey's question, yeah, Joey, I've seen your question. I brought it in actually twice now. But to answer it, Rode NT USB mini mic, you can plug that directly into your laptop. You shouldn't need a mixer on that. Again, if it's also, I think that's the USB model. So if it's USB, you wouldn't necessarily be able to go into a mixer with that either because it's USB. So it'd have to go directly into the laptop. And that's something just real quick to talk about. I mean, when you start talking microphones, there are USB microphones, and that's going to have to plug directly into the computer. And then there's also XLR, which is the audio standard that people use for live streams and whatnot. And it's a round 3-prong cable that's going to run into a mixer, and then the mixer is going to run into your computer. That's to make up your audio interface. So that's the best way to connect that, and then you can power that and all sorts of other fun stuff. Okay, cool. So we got a couple more people here. So and DZ Stews, yeah, I also mentioned this earlier. I'm not sure if you're not seeing the comments, but yeah, this is a stream where, like, if you have a live stream and you want us to review it or help you fix an issue and things like that, just join us on stage.
Yeah,
and we'll help you. So
yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure. So live from Dreamland Studios in California, how you doing?
How's it going? Can you hear my audio? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Pleased to meet everybody. Thank you very much for allowing me to come on. I just have a quick question. Hi, everybody. I'm the Dreamer, and my show is called Hanging with the Dreamer.
Okay.
And I just wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
Real fast. I'm going to swing my laptop over this way. I recently just acquired this mixer right here. The Presonus Studio Live AR12C. Okay. Right here is a Bluetooth channel. Presonus, the company, calls it the super channel. Right there, because you pair Bluetooth devices.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this mixer right here?
Not necessarily, but is there? But I could probably answer the question. So,
well, thank you so very much. And what I'd like to do is get rid of the headphones on my head and get some Bluetooth earbuds.
Okay.
Kind of clean my show up and make it look more professional.
Okay.
Because my guest list is starting to grow into the second week of March already.
Okay, nice.
And I'm very privileged for that. I'm very humbled by that. And I want to be able to listen to playback and listen to the live stream via Bluetooth earbuds going off the Bluetooth function here on my new mixer.
Okay.
Is that possible?
That's a good question. So I think that's primarily just for connecting a device. I think they're still going to want you to connect So like the Bluetooth, I think, because I have a Bluetooth feature on my Rodecaster Pro, but it's only for connecting a device and bringing device audio. So I think you're going to have to go through I think you're going to have to connect that headphone set to your laptop, like to be able to then bring in the audio that way. I don't think you're going to necessarily be able to use that mixer for that purpose at least.
Okay, so basically, I can only use my tablet and my iPhone on that
Right.
section there.
Right. So it'd be like, for example, like it'd be able to connect the device via Bluetooth, but then not be like, because for example, I could get my Bluetooth, I could test my Bluetooth section out with this as well, but like, and this would be worth testing. I think I would, if it were me, I'd try to pair. So if I were you, I'd try to pair my try pairing your headphones with the mixer, see if it will actually recognize it. And see if you can like, and then do a test stream. What I'd always recommend doing is having like a test Facebook group or a private Facebook group that you're just a part of, and then test your broadcast out to that group. So like let's take the headphones, hey, you probably have a pair of Bluetooth headphones lying around, try connecting them to the mixer first of all. And if they pair, okay, then let's try going live and playing something, for example, like maybe playing some audio through a website or whatever, like, because you're using it as an audio interface, play it that way or play it through the device. Like, cause I think that's got some, I think it's got some sound pads, right? You have sound pads on that one, I think, right? Let's see. Yeah. So I think, try playing something through the device, see if you can hear them, and then see if it, and then look at your live stream and see how that worked. Does that make sense?
So just run the wireless earbuds.
Yeah.
Not so much wireless, but
right.
Well, because as you can see, I have a computer behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm on my graphics laptop right now.
Yeah.
And then over here, I have a laptop that I use for my recording because I also write songs. I'm a songwriter also.
Nice. Very nice.
And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this laptop with this mixer.
Okay.
I'm getting an apparatus that I need to build this next week coming up.
Yeah.
And it's a DJ table. So what I'm going to do is use this laptop, this mixer, and do everything on this laptop, my shows, videos, everything on this laptop, so I could free up the laptop that I'm on.
Yeah.
For my video editing and for my graphic design.
Nice. Very nice.
May I just throw it out there, throw a bone out there and see what you say? May I just please talk about my show a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll just keep it comments. I know that a lot of people probably need to ask you questions. Mm-hmm. That's great. So first off, again, thank you for allowing me to come on and
anytime
and talk, and I appreciate it greatly.
Yes.
What just the long and short of it is, Hanging with the Dreamer is a talk show that I started 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I worked with 2 promoters.
Okay.
And I'm very humbled by that. And what I do is I interview their artist roster. I interview their musicians. They send musicians to me. I interview them. And like I said, my list is growing to the 2nd week of March already. Mm-hmm. I have a very tight-knit community. I do need to find some moderators, so because I've been missing some chats, some folks, saying hi in the chat. I've been missing some of those because I'm so focused on my guests. So I do need to find some moderators. And I am also the editor for Dark Circuits Radio, the #1 radio station on Rock Rage Radio on Facebook.
Nice. Very nice.
I am very privileged by this, and I wanted to clean up my show. I wanted to clean up my show, my show format, and get this mixer. So basically, all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to leave, like, I don't know if anybody's ever heard the saying, I hope people remember me when I'm gone because I want to be like the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex and leave deep footprints. Well, I want to do that, and I have a lot to say. I have a lot of experience I want to share, and for anybody who wants to hear it. My whole path in being a broadcaster and being a graphic artist, being a show host, being a musician, being all the stuff, all the hats that I wear with my show is pardon me, is all part of that. And my whole point of my show, Hanging with the Dreamer, is to leave a positive impact and to say something that's going to help somebody else and let people know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Because I struggle just like everybody else, juggling a home life, a marriage, the show, building my my circle, business circle, acquaintances, and I'm very fortunate. I'm grateful. I'm excited, and I really have a clear vision, and I'm dialed into my show. But the whole thing is that I see a lot. I watch a lot of other live streams, and I think to myself, number one, I'm trying to get my mind out of the competing mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just be myself, just be Will Star, the Dreamer, and it's very important to me. My life's not getting any shorter, or actually, my life's not getting any longer. Sorry, and it's important to me to do this right. Make somebody's day, bring some positive inspiration into this world that we're forced to live in right now by no fault of our own. And my heart breaks. I want to be able, like I said, I want to be able to say something or to do something that's going to be beneficial to somebody else.
That's right.
Because my life is not getting any longer. So it's very important to me to be able to do that. And I am very thankful. I'd like to invite you both of you kind people to check my show out. And anybody else listening wants to hear a bunch of musicians talking and see a lighthearted, positive environment and a positive environment that is filled with love and kindness, and because my guests have told me that after talking to me, and this is again why I got the mixer, because I'm trying to tighten my game up, is because I've been getting some feedback that I help people open up.
That's right.
And I help them. I'm just the ears. I just ask a question and say hi to people in chat. That's all I do. Well, that's when we're live. But it's all about my guests. And I I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my own horn. I'm just trying to let people know that, hey, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I'm doing this. You know, because I love people and I love my life, and the things I've overcome to get to where I'm at today, quite frankly, would kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I am very, very, very thankful to be to where I am today. And I'm thankful for you guys, and I'm thankful for this stream, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to come on and just, you know, find out my little petty Bluetooth questions. And I'm very, well, no, not petty, pretty important actually, but you know, it's important. And I just like to invite both of you, you know, if you have time, check my channel out and see if it's something that you like. And
Yep.
I hope to see you all in the chat room someday.
Yes, you will. You will.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you're already doing it. You're doing amazing things, and this is what we do. Just one of the things I realized, and I know you're going to see this as well, is that it's the people that don't say anything when you're broadcasting that will reach out to you and said, I don't say much on your live, but what you said today or this morning really helped me. And so it's just starting that conversation is what we all need to do, is so important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And,
Someone said, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Christian.
I was going to say, to answer your, congrats on, like, your stream. And,
Thank you.
part of what we mentioned is consistency. But at the same time, the other thing is also like I like the fact that you're trying to level up your stream as well. It's potentially adding in some additional equipment, improving like how you're doing things. For example, it looks like you're using, and people don't need to do this, but they can, as they grow their stream, they need additional laptops, for example, to do certain tasks. So keep that in mind, like as you're growing your stream, you've got one laptop to start with, and then you may want, as you're growing it, you're getting the audience. You want to branch out and then have dedicated machines for certain things, dedicated people to help run certain things.
Right.
And the other part though is to focus on the community, to make sure that you're giving back to people, but also make sure that, it's a symbiotic relationship, like that you're growing at the same time. That like you're not just doing the streams and like nobody's tuning in, for example. If no one's tuning in, it's been, if it's been like 2 years, for example, if no one's tuning in, then I would say, hey, we need to revamp the strategy and look at what we're doing. But you're doing a good job. I like the fact that you're trying to grow things, and thanks again for coming on as well and asking your question. I'm going to drop a link in the comments as well, and because I think someone has a similar question. But if it were me, you want to know if you can connect the Bluetooth headphones directly to that, I would personally take a pair, try connecting it, and see if it works. And if you need to get on a test stream, I mean, I'm happy to help. I'm sure there's tons of other people here as well that would also be happy to help. Dana, by the way, thanks a lot for joining as well. I see Dana from StreamYard here with me as well. So
hey, Dana.
But yeah, thank you so much.
So real quickly, and thank you both. Thank you both, everybody. I just wanted to ask real quick, can I please share my screen from my what's going to be my new show laptop to the laptop I'm on right now?
What is it? What are we bringing up?
This laptop right here. I'm gonna start doing all my live streams on this.
Yeah. Okay.
With the mixer.
Yeah.
And the laptop that I'm on, can I split the screen to the laptop that I'm on so that I could keep track of the way everything's coming across?
Are you thinking, okay, so I think, are you asking, do you want to be able to split the screen, or do you want to have like a dual monitor? I'd almost like, for example, you guys see me often looking over this side and then looking this side. Reason is because I have one screen over here that has my program monitor on it. So like I see what my camera feed looks like. And if I have my switcher, like I can, this is going to go black, but like I can do that, for example. So I know what I'm bringing up, but then I also have my main broadcast on the other one. So if if you have the ability to have additional screens, I would recommend having additional screens tied into things. I don't know if you can combine the two laptops. I think you might be able to use the screen possibly from one laptop with the other one in certain modes, depending on the type of machine. But definitely keep that in mind. And then if you're on just the one screen, then I recommend like just dividing the screen with one window of what you want to see and then what you're actually seeing live. So that's what I would do. So, but yeah. So, and again, I've got a couple people waiting. So, keep growing, keep doing what you're doing. And we do this every week. So if you have additional questions, like do me a favor, test out the Bluetooth feature you're asking about. If you get it to work, come back if you do or don't get it to work, come back next week. And I want to hear how it worked. Okay.
Yep.
Sure. I would be happy to. And again, please, I would love to have you both come by the chat, just kind of see how I do things. And
sure.
I'd love, I'd be honored if you both would stop by one of my shows,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just shoot me a private message with the link to it, and we'll do our best to try to check it out. So
have a beautiful, beautiful day, everybody, and please stay creative and stay inspired.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Okay, Leticia, I know we've got one other person here backstage. I did want to just highlight just a comment real quick. So let me find it. DZ Studios, I know you asked if we're reviewing live streams, we'll review the live stream if people come on and say, hey, you know what, this is my show. This is how I do it for X times a week, and this is what I talk about. And I get 5 viewers, for example, or I get 50 viewers. Come on with whatever your challenge is or whatever your obstacle is, and we want to help you overcome that obstacle to keep you streaming and moving forward.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're gonna bring on, and I'll have the name here is the Beer Ambassador.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. I don't know the rest. I don't know. I can't see the rest of your name, but I'm going to bring on the Beer Ambassador. Thanks you, by the way, for being patient. I really appreciate it. And so I'm going to go and bring on the Michael Woodward. Okay. So Michael, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for being patient. Seriously. Got a lot of questions from people. So
no worry. I appreciate you, giving me the time actually.
Yes.
What you don't know is I found out about StreamYard from Nick Nimmin.
Okay.
Yeah. And I met him at Vid Summit in 2019. And the long and short, I'll get into my history while I was there. But I got a notification because I was on my phone and I started watching you guys. And then I was commenting and then I was like, you know what, I might as well go on live. So I was actually on live on my phone. And while I was waiting for you, I went and switched to my computer. I got my ring light set up with my switch pod and I got my new microphone and my headphones because honestly, I haven't started the stream line because I've been nervous about having the right equipment. I just got some of this, just around the holidays.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
So it just, what I'm saying was while I was waiting, I was able to switch from one device to another and test out what I've been wanting to do is I want to do StreamYard and I wanted to test out this equipment. So I kind of came in saying, hey, I need to just jump in with both feet to figure out StreamYard. They're allowing people on. I might as well come say hi. But I was going to be on my phone. But what I really need, the phone's easy for me. Yeah. The computer is where it seems to be hard. So I'm kind of excited that I got to wait for so long to be able to switch this up and be able to use this equipment. That's all.
Definitely. No. And here's the key thing. I mean, I can't stress this enough, test
That's right.
with different equipment, with different, setups. For example, one thing I was doing when I initially got started, I was using, I initially was like, oh, I need a desktop setup and I have a mobile setup. And, and I was like, okay, I have this mixer, great. This works great for my desktop. I need something comparable for my, when I travel, for example. So I'm not, carrying around a big mixing board. I've got something much smaller for that. So, experiment and always, I'm not always telling people hey, go buy more gear, use what you have. For the most part, a lot of people, if they're going to buy a mic, I think you were holding up, what model mic was that?
This is if I'm trying to remember, it's the Q2U.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you can do it as an XLR or you can do it, as the, it's right into your computer. What's forget the
USB. Yeah.
And then, but you can also, if you can see in the back of this, my headphones go right into this mic, so I can hear what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what, $80, $100, I think,
something like that. It was like, I paid probably maybe closer to $100 because I got this extra. It comes with the extra stand, but I got the boom mic with the windscreen and that kind of stuff. But otherwise, it's about $80. I think it's totally worth it. I found out about that at Vid Summit as well. And I mean, I have like an old SM58, which I love. You know, those. We call them gig mics because I'm a singer and many bands from past days. And, but this, you know, you're not always able to get into being able to be mobile and understand what the sound volume is. So I've gone through a whole bunch of different things where I have like this little, I don't remember what it is right now, but the little, essentially boom mic that goes into my phone. And that will actually create great sound, but I can't hear what's going on. So if I'm just talking to the audience and having them understand what I'm doing, great. If I want to have an interaction, that doesn't work. So then you have to use like ear pods or something like that.
Definitely, you know, and so that's a good point though. I mean, like with that mic, so that mic is designed to be a bit of a like a dual purpose mic. So it can be USB, but then you can grow with it. So like if you're just getting started, plug it in via USB and then move to XLR when your budget allows for a mixer, because you're going to need or an interface. You're going to need one to plug it in. But check that out. I mean, it's a good mic. I have a lot of friends that use that one. In addition, you know, so congrats on the setup. I mean, and the key thing is just to keep growing with your stream. So you've got the equipment. So that's the
well, I mean, I've got some basics, so I need to get started. But again, this is what I was doing. So the long and the short, I grew up performing, singing, acting all my life, and was a DJ in a bunch of bands. And then I was back in school and was unfortunately going through a divorce. I'd have a beautiful child from that marriage. So I mean, it's just what happens. And at that time, I was in school at UCI, University of California, Irvine, and basically they were looking for DJs. And so there's a station called KUCI 88.9 FM. And I went and decided to do that with my spare time. And instead of becoming a music DJ like I thought I would do, I found out that they had PAs or public affairs shows. And I have a love for beer. So I don't know if it's okay to have a beer here, but I have a beer on my show all the time. If you guys are okay, I'll drink a beer. So I usually get a beer, and I'll open a beer and talk about a beer. But I basically started that show and was on for 5 years on FM radio. And in this last year, I've gone to where I literally have just been on social media, and predominantly I've done Facebook, but predominantly I'm doing Instagram. But I know that I can't grow my audience and be in control of my own product that way. And so that's why I've been looking at something where I could incorporate several different platforms and that kind of stuff. So stumbling across StreamYard has been interesting, but I'll just be honest, I haven't taken the jump yet. This is my first jump, so I have to do my own. But I've been wanting to take my content and create it over. So I'll just tell you. So what I'll do is I'll open up like a beer like this and tell you that you can see this nice golden color. It's got a great white head with. I mean, you can see that it's really good, and then the retention. And when you smell it, it's very aromatic, where you get citrus and kind of some tropical notes on this one, because they do it with a Nelson hop. And so and this one is a Brett beer from Modern Times. So it's an IPA or Indian Pale Ale. Oh, and that's beautiful. Definitely, you get some stone fruit in there. I get a lot of pineapple as well. So it's a very tropical kind of beer. Ooh. But anyways, when I started with just breweries and the beer, and it just kind of went out to that there's so much more people in the community and beer that do things for beer. I mean, there's artists, there are people who write songs, of course, but I'm talking about artists who actually create art, and people who write songs about beer. But you get people who create equipment for beer, bottling, kegging, canning, labels. I mean, the community is really large and vast, and it's really cool to get into the backstory. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So if anyone wants to know, so it's it looks like Michael. It's pronounced Mikael.
Okay.
I know you wouldn't know that, but looking at it, but it's Mikael, and I'm just known as the beer ambassador. So, in getting started in this platform for the StreamYard, I did look at one thing. I'll go back and look at it again because I know you have a video about how to get started, and I don't want you to have to go over all that here. But what would be some of your highlights in getting started and trying to create your own thing? Is it, and maybe connecting it to like a website or something?
Leticia, do you want to take that one?
I would build a whole community of people who love beer. Like even as you was opening that, I need to get beer right now. You know,
yes.
I would start a community, a group of people who love beer, and they can create little screenshots or something. Oh, hey, I had this beer today because Mikael. I don't want to get your name wrong.
Mikael. Just say it's 3 syllables. Mikael.
Mikael. That's a really nice name, by the way. And start from there, starting off with building that community first. So let's say you start off doing your live shows and you let everybody know that you have a group, you have a community where you get in there and you talk even more about the love for beer. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing now. So it's just kind of transferring it over
and
getting started. So I guess what you're saying is just do it and let people know in my other platform communities, hey, I'm going over here, check it out.
Because as people start to watch you often over and over again, because you see a lot of people on here, I want a beer now. They love beer, right? As you get people to watch you, you need to put them somewhere. And that's one thing we don't do sometimes, where we just I just want to go live. I want to deliver my message. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. Okay, where are you going to put those diehard fans that look at you every day and they're like, oh my God, I love his delivery. And you have the face for live streaming. You have all that going for you. So I would definitely start to build your community up and just, go from there. That needs to be your strategy.
Well, yeah. I'm a firm believer that no matter what goes on in our lives and what our differences are, that we have more in common than we don't. Yes. And beer is known as the people's drink. Mm-hmm. And it has always brought people together throughout centuries. And I always believe that. I mean, we can find something in common. We even, a friend and I have to give him the credit, but a guy named Alexander Meyer, he created the one beer debate, where if you want to debate with someone, you have to do it over a beer. And when it's your turn, you have to have the beer, because you can't get too excited with the beer in your hand.
I know.
So. And then you can only ask one question and rebut one question at a time. And by the time you guys are done with the beer on both sides, then
everybody's
done with that debate, and that way it's not too crazy. But
I love that.
Yeah.
That's it. And we got quite a few people waiting, by the way. So
I apologize.
No, you're totally fine. I would just say, I think the key thing is going to be to build a community around that.
Yep.
Whether it's a Facebook group, for example. You have to look at, I would say, look at some of the legalities, I guess, of it. Legalities meaning if people are under 20, what's the drinking age?
Oh, yes. I forgot about
just that. Look at that sort of thing. But I think there's potentially a lot behind there that you could build off of. So it could be that could get into websites, for example. It could get into, having a downloadable guide, all that sort of stuff as well. That's where I would start, is either, if you've already got a YouTube channel, for example, maybe you do certain things on live and certain things on pre-record. For example, pre-record might be, you could say, hey, today we're going to talk about a specific theme, what are hops, for example, even though it might seem very basic. Talk about that kind of stuff as pre-recorded content, because it's always going to be evergreen content that people are going to want to know. Mm-hmm. And then maybe your live stream could be hey, you know what? We're going to actually, again, look at the legalities of what you're allowed to do, because you probably have to say your videos are for people over 21 or something. I'm not sure.
Well, if I'm on YouTube, I'm sure I do. But I mean, I always do that. I mean, it depends on the drinking age for the country, honestly.
Right.
Because it's 21 in the US, but not in other countries.
I know. And I would have something like Beer for Dummies, because I'm not a huge beer drinker, because I don't know enough about what beer flavors work for me. So that would be fun for those of us who are not avid beer drinkers. We can learn what brand or type of beer would be working for us.
Yeah, I always say that if you think you don't like beer, you just haven't had the right beer yet.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Because there are actually more types of beer than there are types of wine.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like wine or a certain specific drink, and I find out your flavor profile, like you said, you like the sound of this tropical one, then I would recommend that, or maybe a saison, or maybe a fruited beer or something like that.
Yeah, like fruited beer.
Yeah, they're good. But so if there's anyone who was interested, I am the beer ambassador, _beer_ ambassador on Instagram. And I think it's the beer ambassador OC, or maybe just the beer ambassador on Facebook. And then also, I think it's the beer ambassador OC on YouTube. But I'm trying to get to where I'm consistent on that content. I was consistent on Tuesdays for 6.5 years, but it's just been on one platform. That's all.
Awesome.
So I want to say, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, but no, thanks for coming on, and like, congrats on your live stream journey. And I did drop a link to like, we do a webinar. So if you do have very specific StreamYard questions, please do us a favor and like join that, and like you'll get to meet like Dana and Kelsey from the StreamYard team as well. You know,
Sweet.
and they can answer any questions you have specifically about like the interface. I can answer those, but they can also do that as well on that. So I would recommend checking that out. So.
Well, I was just going to say thanks for having me on, and I really appreciate that you guys do these. I can't always make them when they're live, but I get the notification. I try to jump in because it encourages people like me. So, I mean, I've been watching for honestly several months now, and now I just said let's just take the plunge, because it's been on my list to do, but I let other things get in the way, and I just need to do it.
That's
definitely
great.
no. Keep it up, and again, if you have questions, come back. I want you to come back. But if you have specific questions, just bring them back. So
well, maybe I can come back and maybe I'll send you guys some beers, and you can sample and taste the beer at the same time. And we can do something like that.
I'm breastfeeding though, but yeah, after for sure.
Well, actually, technically, just as a bit of history, my mom is a Lamaze coach for natural childbirth, but she also does La Leche League, which is the milk group. It's been a historical thing, and that they still do a natural way to bring in the lactation for a breastfeeding mother is to have like 3 or 4 ounces of beer.
Okay, I'll look into that.
I mean, they used to have these ad campaigns. If you look at it, and this is historical too, they've taken it away, but it used to be they would show in a lot of the beer things at the turn of the century, for last century, they would have breastfeeding mothers on the beer ads. You could see it. It's pretty interesting.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm going to tell women to go out and drink a bunch of beers, but 3 to 4 ounces to get that thing started, it's not going to hurt you or the baby. But anyways,
got it.
Thanks,
Thank
for
you.
joining us, and do us a favor, put a link to your if you've got like a channel, drop that in the comments and whatnot as well. You know, and then that way, like, people seem to really like this. Remy, I know Remy wants to connect, so definitely.
It's hard for me to read them all. I didn't see it before, but now I see the chat. I'll go and look at that. I will say I'll put in my website too, but the website's been neglected for a long time, so I'm trying to update that and connect things. But that's probably what I'll do with the StreamYard.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So
thank you.
I appreciate it, both Leticia and Christian. You guys rock.
Thank
Very
you.
welcome.
You too. Thanks.
Okay, Leticia, we've got a couple more people here backstage. So here's what I want to do. I want to make sure I value everyone's time. I don't know, Leticia, I don't know how much longer you have as well. Okay, so we'll go through these, and we're also going to have a giveaway.
Yes.
So Remy, we'll make sure that that Mr. Woodward, or that Michael puts his link in the comments, so you can connect with them. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna bring Darren on. We've had Darren on, I think, last week. Darren. So come on, tell people a little bit about yourself, and then what we'll do is just ask your question. So we'll stick to one question for right now, because we got a few people waiting. So Darren, good to see you again.
Hey, Darren.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for having me on. Dimebag Darren Lowe's channel on YouTube, where we have Canadian coins, music, and more. It's kind of a unfocused channel, like I've learned is not possibly the greatest thing to have, but I haven't really determined a focus beyond, I don't know, Canadiana and Canadian coins. Maybe that is a focus. I'm not sure, but we do a lot of interesting things. Last thing we did was a live coin row hunt, where I brought people actually on my ride to the bank, picked up the box, brought it home, went through it, and then actually ended that stream, went back to the bank, got another box, brought it home, and started up another stream. A little bit of a marathon that went, I don't know, quite a few hours in the end. And honestly, when I do this, my community allows me to have a pretty loosey-goosey show. Like, I don't have to be as polished as y'all. And if I sit there for 15 minutes just fingering through a pile of quarters, I have people watching those quarters while we're all not saying anything at all. So it's not like a half an hour or an hour of power-packed information that's going to go from topic to topic to topic. It's a rambling around the kitchen table. Basically, anybody that I know who comes in the room can go up, kind of thing, and we just yak while we search quarters or loonies or toonies. Loonies being the $1 coin in Canada, and toonies being the $2 coin in Canada. So we enjoy that, and that's what we did last. Leticia dropped in for a quick visit. Yep. And question-wise, I don't have really any. I just wanted to say thank you, and I let you guys know I tune in and enjoy your show. And now I'm going to get the hell out of here quickly so that somebody else can properly use your time. But Christian, watching everything, brother. If you're on it, I'm watching it. Same with Leticia, except that her topics are a little bit away from what I'm doing. I don't always have a lot of interest in them, honestly, but I always check them to make sure it's not something that is for me, because a lot of the stuff you guys do is for me, and going to take that to heart.
Awesome.
Anyway, so you've got a big backstage there, as you mentioned. It's too bad we can't see the other backstage people. That would be one thing I wouldn't mind seeing, so we could chat in the back chat while we're waiting for you. Talk crap and that kind of stuff. That being said, thank you for having me on as always, and go ahead and grab your next guest. I'll be watching.
Thank you very much for again coming by, and again, by the way, if you haven't checked out his content, the one thing I really like about what Darren does, he's very, and my friend Melanie is also like this, like very scrappy with like what they're using. So he doesn't just like buy a whole bunch of equipment and just have all this equipment. He takes something like, hey, I had this and I've had this for 10 years. And it's still, for example, if it's audio equipment doesn't change that much. Nope. So he's still repurposing it, still using it. He's got some cool hacks for different things he uses. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. That one here, see this, that's $38. And that I put up against this, that's $100. That's a Shure SM58. People can't tell the difference between this at $38, this at $100, or this at $600. So if you own it, use it. If you don't own it, don't worry about how super it has to be. It doesn't got to be that super. Right. Start off with what you got.
Yep.
Great advice.
Thank you again. I have a lot. See you now.
That's right.
I think you did a mic drop there. That was pretty good. Pretty cool. Literally a mic drop.
Build on that. Start off what you got and build on that. That's important.
Very cool. So we're going to bring on Chip. Chip. I don't know what question Chip's going to ask, but we're going to bring on Chip. Chip, thanks a lot for joining. I haven't seen you here before, so it's good to see you joining us.
It's great to be here, Christian, Leticia. Thank you so much. I really don't have a question. By the way, I watch all these backs, kind of like observing, but I wanted to say that one of the things that I've been that myself and my co-host, who's named Jeff, we do something called On the Chain, which is a cryptocurrency show. Okay. But I have to tell you, one of the things that's fantastic, for example, one of the large exchanges in the United States you can buy cryptocurrencies from is called Uphold. And we just interviewed the CEO, which is going to air tomorrow night, but it's such an easy thing. And we've tried all the other streaming stuff. So I kind of just came on here just to talk about how great, StreamYard is. But really, when we send it to a guest, someone who's like a CEO of like a really large sort of an organization, they come in, they join this. There's nothing they have to do. And what I like is when you copy the instructions over or send it to them, it's just flawless, right? So it's one of the things. We're when we started off using free, quickly accelerated to the next level, and then we're pro users,
That's right.
And to pay them to pay annually, it's just a no-brainer. And I have to say, I like the direction of the company, where things are going. We do a live stream, and one of the things that I learned was we weren't doing enough frequency. And just to give people some hope out there, we took 2 years to get to 5,000 subscribers. 2 years. This past break in December, we started live streaming twice a day, right? And I know a lot of people had some downtime. We started streaming twice a day. We added 6,500 in 3 weeks. So 2 years to get to 2 years to get to 5,000. We just hit 12,000, I think yesterday. So, don't give up. And somebody who I also look up to in the space said, it's a good thing you guys didn't give up, right? Because it was growing very slow and it's a couple here and there. But one of the things I learned was we weren't doing it enough. We now stream 6 days a week, just once a day. And then we have another channel where we do uploads. So we learned that, if you're going to do it on YouTube doesn't like variety. So we got tipped off by some large YouTubers that said, hey, if you're going to do uploads, keep that on a separate channel. If you're going to just do live streams, that's a whole different animal. So that's kind of what we did. And I got to say, it's just nothing more to say that I'm a big fan. This software rocks. The latest update with being able to put the little animations that roll in, when we're doing a live stream, it can hit people's questions. And again, we have people from all over the spectrum, people that just started in cryptocurrency, people that have been doing it for 4 or 5 years. We talk about the geopolitical spectrum. And for most of anything, like my wife said, why do you do it? I said, it's therapy.
Yep.
To get out and talk to people. We started doing it because we wanted to learn. The best way to learn is to start the dialogue and the conversation. And when you start chatting about something, other people will come in. And I love the beer ambassador. He's why he's not streaming all the time, because he's got the knowledge about the beer. It's just go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
that's it. The best thing I can tell you. And I just love what StreamYard's doing. I love some of the fact that the acquisition is probably going to bring some really cool things, maybe some accelerated things to the table. Hopefully, I know I always share on the Sunday night streams. Hey, it would be cool to have this thing, or I would love to have this, because when we record stuff, and I'll start a record, when I'm using StreamYard, and I inevitably mess it up. Well, I can keep going and do that 15 times, or sometimes I go back and reset it, but I would love to have that record button and just keep going. Record, because I'll be, hey, welcome to blah, and I'll be, and I'll start it again. Usually I screw it up in the beginning, but that's one of the things that I would love to have, just because it would make it so much easier. Otherwise, I have to edit. And the best thing about doing this, we have an open, we have a close that we load as a video. We have a timer, we have our own timer that we run, several different ones with music and a countdown, and it builds the excitement. And being able to put that in there. Now, the one thing that I would love to have is transparent video, where I can upload, because I built one that says a little thing that rolls up at the very bottom and says subscribe, and click the notifier bell, and then it goes down again. But you can only do that with transparent video. And I'm like, if we can get that way, we could roll all kinds of cool little graphics on while we're talking. So I'm like, fingers crossed, would love it. But anyway, that's why I want to come on and say I love StreamYard. Great product, great team. You guys are amazing. I mean, when you're doing this for people out there and giving them hope and bringing them on, this is what it's all about. So Christian, you and Leticia, you guys keep doing your thing. That's all I want to say. Thank you for bringing me on, and much love.
You're welcome.
Just a quick point. You're asking about bringing. So I noted all your stuff as feature requests. The other thing also, we just did a tutorial yesterday on animated GIFs. So how to bring them into your live streams. And so I'm going to put that in the comments here.
Yeah, please drop that. I'm going to see.
Please check that out, because it's actually really cool. Melanie Howe was on with us, and she was demonstrating hers, and you should check it out. It's actually really cool. And I know everybody's
in there. I want to look at it. That sounds pretty cool.
GIF, but yeah, check it out. Well, it's awesome when you do it right. So
it's officially GIF by the guy that coined the phrase. He says it's GIF, so that's why I go with GIF.
Yeah.
They were actually talking about
but we're still debated to the end of time. That's cool too,
Exactly. So thank you so much for joining us and for all the kind words.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Okay, so let me see if we have any other comments and questions. By the way, for those of you sticking around, we are going to be doing a giveaway here very, very, very soon, by the way. So I think we're going to take Stai's comments here. We're going to bring them on, and then we're going to talk about and then we're going to do a giveaway. So let's go bring on Stai. Let me see if I can figure out what your question is going to be. And by the way, we're going to make sure our beer ambassador, we're going to make sure he puts that in the public chat for everyone if they want to get in touch with him.
Yes.
And then no, you don't have to be a member first. I'm not sure what his comment is on that, but he just needs to just put in the public chat, whether that's on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching from. Okay, we're going to bring on Stai, and then we're going to do a giveaway. So Stai, thanks a lot for being patient and for joining us.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for having me. This is wonderful. just to be here. Just to be here.
So I like, I like your background and I like your mic. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So
yeah, it's about $100 mic. I've been following you guys since you started doing this, and I haven't said anything in the chat because your show is one of those where you have to hurry up and slow down and pay attention because there's so much to learn from all the comments of everybody. You folks, you lead folks, other folks down the right paths. You give them great advice.
Thank you.
I have to say, I guess, it'll sound crazy. What's my question is, why isn't everybody using StreamYard?
Amen.
I started out with OBS, and then I went with Streamlabs OBS, and I had so many what I call disrupted streams because of the technical side of OBS, me stumbling, not getting the connectivity, everything right, and then transitioning. My audience was going, well, that was a failure, Sty. That didn't work, And I'm like, I can't. I've been trying to learn, and I just can't in this. And then I said, oh, the heck with it. I'll use Hangouts. And I tried Hangouts, I think, twice. And I said, that isn't working either. Then I said, well, here we go. We'll use Zoom. I couldn't stand Zoom. The audio problems I kept having with Zoom was terrible. Then I saw StreamYard advertised on Facebook. Check this out. It's new. As a year ago. And I thought I'll give it a try. I only used the free version for one stream.
Yeah.
And I bought in. My streams have become almost, I would say, seamless since I started using StreamYard. And I use blue screen because I'm usually wearing camouflage. I'm an outdoorsman. My channel is an outdoors-based variety channel.
Okay.
It doesn't just stay outdoors. That topic comes up all the time. But I have 2 streams a week. One's on Thursday night. It's called Around the Campfire for people that can't go outside. They're stuck at home. So they can get on YouTube and hang out around the campfire with a bunch of like-minded people.
Yep.
And we talk about life in general. The past, the present, the future. And we just have a good time. And then on Sunday nights, I have what's called Sty Story Sunday. And I've got almost 200 stories I've told so far. I've got a list of over 300 stories. And so every Sunday, I tell about a 15 minute to half hour story about my life's experiences. I'm 64 years old. I'm in the winter of my life. Yeah, look at the time of the year, right? And I've experienced so much in my lifetime that I just want to share it with people. And just a suggestion to folks at Livestream. You only need one rule in your live streams if you're dealing with chat so that you have that interaction. The one rule you need to set is respect.
Amen.
Don't ban anybody unless they refuse to show respect to each other. And that one simple rule, respect, goes a long ways. And this Sty Times, it's a new show starting Monday. It'll be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a 1-hour show. It's locked in as an hour. And that's about anything and everything. It's a grab bag. It's total variety.
Wow.
On occasion, I'll have a guest up and we'll interview the guest, and then we'll just have a polite conversation for that hour. Other days, it'll be specifically comment related, where someone out in the chat has said something that triggers a topic for me. one thing I have found with StreamYard is use share screen. Don't be shy to use share screen.
Mm-hmm.
I use Google Forms for channel input so that people can interact with me during those shows, because those shows I don't have time to, because my shows are specific on a topic. I don't have time to follow the chat. I don't have a co-host.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have used Google Forms to get that interaction. But a lot of people don't understand what Google Forms is about. So you pin a comment and a link to that form at the top of your chat,
Mm-hmm.
and then show it using share screen. Show the form they're going to see and explain the form to them, and leave it 6 or less questions, and never have it where it takes more than maybe 1 minute to fill out the whole form.
Mm.
Then you don't lose. They click on the form, it opens in a different tab. They can answer the questions. They never leave your stream. So,
Great.
but that's where I'm at. I'm just an old guy that, well, and you guys were talking equipment. Look at that old Kodak digital camera. I owned this thing for 12 years.
Wow.
And never knew that it had this video button on top.
Yeah.
And I ran a wilderness camp, and I had clients that would come out for 1 week long camps out in the wilderness.
Uh-huh.
And I was taking still shots with this like I always did. And I pushed that video button, and I'm going, oh my gosh, it's recording these people.
Yeah.
And then I went home, downloaded it, and played it back, and I go, oh my gosh, there's a microphone on this thing. I could hear them. Then I thought, what a good way to get customers. I'll start filming some of the things we do in camp.
Wow.
I'll start a YouTube channel, and I'll get more customers.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get hardly any customers, but I got myself a YouTube channel that went from 50 followers up to 3,600.
Wow.
Because I quit trying to do it for that commercial reason, started doing it just to entertain people and make people smile a little,
You made me smile.
And StreamYard is what's done it for me. I have to say it. StreamYard has done, and people don't just look at the features in StreamYard and go, yeah, I wonder what that does. Start a record only stream. Don't go live. Just start a record only and start
messing with stuff.
Start messing with stuff.
Yes.
Start clicking on things. Use some of these third-party softwares, Canva, whatever you want to use, and start making different overlays and popping them in and play with them. GIFs, I use them all the time. I've got a follower. This guy looks like Bigfoot. This guy looks like Bigfoot. And I'll get him up on my panel. When he comes up, I've got a GIF that plays of Bigfoot walking across the street. He turns and he twerks them and walks off. And I always say, hey, everybody, Kilder's in the house. And that plays over the top of all of us. And Kilder loves it. It's just like, yeah, that's me all over. But I only did that by accident. I played. And that's, I hope in the future we hear a little more of the potential, like Christian was talking about now with the new joint venture. Where's StreamYard going to go, and how fast are some certain things going to happen? I'm real, because now they have a lot more support and background to work with, and I'm real curious as to how far they're going to go. I do love the fact that Dan and Gage, their whole mission was, we don't really care how far it goes as long as it's user friendly.
That's right.
And that motto in itself will keep me here forever.
That's right.
That I don't have time for all of the front end work and all of the tail end work.
Yeah.
I stream too much. You stream 5, 6, 7 days a week. You don't have time for all that front end and tail end work. You want to be able, I can set up a stream and go live in 15 minutes.
That's it.
Everything's done. in 15 minutes. And I use intros. The video section is awesome. I had an original songwriter write a theme song for my channel.
Yeah,
and
nice.
that plays in front of my streams. And so you build intros, pop those in. That gives you that chance to sit back, relax, take that big breath, and when that intro ends, you're on the screen. So it's like your invite to the stage, and it's so easy.
Yep.
And that's the crazy part, is it's so easy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm getting out of here. Do your giveaway. Love you, Christian. And Leticia. You guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing for these folks out here.
I want to say thanks a lot for coming on. I mean, and telling us, more about like what you do, and just, again, telling people like, hey, you know what, it's about like not getting, wrapped around the axle on like, hey, I have to have all of this other equipment, testing things out. I mean, the key thing is testing. I mean, if, for example, if you're not sure how something works, like we have a Facebook group, and our Facebook group is more than happy to, like you can join our Facebook group, our free group, and we'll answer your questions. But then at the same time, don't be afraid to test things out. As you mentioned, instead of streaming to a destination publicly, use the record only feature. If you want to stream to Facebook to see what it looks like, set up a test Facebook group and stream into just that Facebook group or that Facebook page where it's just you. And then you can go about seeing, how it works, how things work, work on the fact that like, hey, you know what? I hit go live. How do I make that, work from now that everything is public? So really appreciate
I was having so many problems with things I was trying to do in StreamYard. The audio was bad, everything. Yeah. But when I did those record onlys, I could go back and watch through them and find, and then also I could critique my own behavior on camera. Yeah. I could go back and watch myself and go, oh, don't do that again. So yeah, you're so right, Christian. You're so right.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. I hope you have good luck with your new show you're doing this Monday, I think. And you've also got Sunday one as well. So good luck with those. And thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You all have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so I got one more guest I'm going to bring on, Leticia. Okay, so one more guest. One more guest. Then we're going to do our giveaway. So we still got quite a number of people watching, by the way. So I thought it was tailing off and then like went back up. So
what happened?
I'm going to bring on Melanie. So Melanie did a tutorial for us yesterday on her animated GIFs. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have them handy anymore, Melanie. So if you have them handy, I can solo your shot and you can show what your animated GIF looks like. I think people need to see that because it's a really good tutorial. So they see what it looks like. But let me bring you on real quick. So
what's
Melanie,
up? Hey, can you hear me? That's the question. Okay, I literally just plugged this thing in. Okay, hold on. I'm coming down. Let me figure it out. Oh, it was all the way up. I don't know how it was all the way up. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Better. A little but it's good. It's better.
So this is the Elgato Wave 3. I would show you the box, but it's sitting on the box because I haven't even mounted it to anything yet. So I was really curious to see what this was going to sound like. So that's what I'm trying. I texted, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I texted Christian that I was going to go get this thing today because it comes with an app. And what I want to test is the app to see if it actually solves one of the gaps that everybody's trying to fill with StreamYard, and that's bring music and bring other audio inputs into the stream, but without having to use something like voice meter or loop back or whatever. So I haven't yet actually I literally just installed it. So I can already tell it has a little bit of a you got to know what you're doing at first, but
learning curve, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the interesting things about it though, that is also I think really interesting. Now this is Elgato's, it's a USB microphone, and it comes with this app called Wavelink. And so you have to have one of these mics to have the app, but the app also lets you monitor the stream output. So you know how we are live and we're like, you know, how does it actually sound? And you really don't know unless you go to your phone and actually listen to the stream. You can actually listen to the stream output here. So you could know if your music's too high or whatever. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm really intrigued about. But I just clicked on that stream output and there was a delay. So it was like I was hearing myself after I was talking and it was driving me crazy. So I turned it off. But
but again,
definitely
it's about experimenting. I mean, you have to, you know, again, I mean, like I got my 8 to many, for example, and I had it here and I knew what I wanted to do with it, but I've slowly like waded into like how I can use it because there's so much to it. I'm like, okay, why try to do everything all at once in addition to everything else that's going on? You know, learn how to use some of the features of it and then build upon it. Like as you like challenge yourself, like say, okay, you know what? I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to learn the basics of it. Okay, great. We got it hooked up. Now what else can we do with it? Let's push it, you know, let's say, okay, let's see if we can, you know, in your case, let's see if we can use it as a, as a way to bring in audio, for example, from other things. Like, let's test that out, you know? So test it out. Don't worry about like, don't just like use it just for what they say it can be used for. So a lot of times you can always experiment with these things. So do you happen to have that animated GIF, by the way? Because that'd be pretty awesome.
Let me pull up, my StreamYard and then just have a preview window and that everybody can see it. I'll use my Brio. Because these are fun.
They are, yes. And hopefully if people haven't seen these are really cool and they're super easy to create. That's the awesome thing. So
they really are. As we were talking yesterday, I mean, there's multiple ways you can create these things. You know, there's the scrappy way, and then there's some better apps that are a little harder to use and maybe more expensive. But, you know, I pretty much showed everybody how to do it the scrappy way. So let me share my screen. All right, if you want to pull my screen up.
Yep, got it.
So I basically yesterday, if you guys want to know how to do this, go back and watch yesterday's replay because we kind of dove all the way into it, and we're going to work on a tutorial for you guys as well. But essentially, you can add yourself to a stream. This is just a GIF. This is a transparent GIF. So you could pull these up on stream when you are engaging with your audience. And if somebody says something and you're like, what? You know, you can have these fun little things. These are just kind of like fun ones that I made to kind of get started, just to have some fun. But we also talked about how I actually made this one. I actually made this one with Kapwing, which was really easy to do. And then this one is just a Jiffy that we found off jiffy.com. So you can absolutely have animated, you know, overlays in your streams, and these definitely add engagement and they add a lot more personal flair to your brand. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. So this is what you wanted me to show everybody.
Definitely, yeah, and it's really cool. And so like a couple things I just want to highlight real quick on this. I mean, in the video we do talk about like beginner. We talk about good, better, best. So like, for example, the good option would be, hey, let's use jiffy.com or Jiffer, for example. And I'm sort of like giving away some of the video, but you know, use that if you're not into creating a branded animated GIF for yourself. And then if you want to go the other route, which is I want to use I want a professional one. I want it to be like super clean around the edges. I want some branding on it. You know, I want one that is not what everyone else is going to post. That's where you'd go and you'd hire somebody like maybe at Fiverr or like a designer, you know, or find to help with that. And then the other option is the option that you showed yesterday, which is combining just a couple of design tools. So definitely check that tutorial out. But we'll definitely have to talk more about the audio, see how we can get that to work. But I want to thank you for popping on. And
I kind of wanted to give this a test just real fast. But yeah, just want to say, hey, and you guys should probably do your giveaway and then go take a bathroom break because my goodness, long stream.
Yes, there's been quite a bit. So, but be sure you check out Melanie's her tutorial that she did with us. So thanks again, by the way, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, so what we're gonna do real quick here is we still got a lot of people watching, but if you want to win some StreamYard swag,
I'm ready.
Streamer swag, merch, whatever you want to call it, we're gonna give away a mug today. And all you gotta do is put in the comments #love StreamYard, let's see, I'll give you like 2 minutes. Just put Love StreamYard in there. You know, and what we'll do is we'll pick a winner. We're going to randomly pick a winner and get that mailed out to you. So again, hashtag Love StreamYard. And just a couple of quick reminders. I mean, for everybody who's been watching, again, I mean, the whole goal of me doing live stream reviews, you know, here with Leticia is we want to help you improve your stream, whether it's whether it's improving the camera, whether it's improving the marketing process, you know, the promotion process, bringing on guests, you know, what have you. So we want you to come on, like, tell us what your stream's about, but also like if you're running into a challenge, what that challenge is, so that we can help you overcome it. Because as you're seeing, I mean, there's people, you know, as Leticia, as you're picking a winner here, I mean, as you're seeing, you don't need fancy gear. It doesn't matter that like, hey, I have a $400 microphone, or I have a $200 microphone, or I have a $1,000 microphone. That's not the most important part of your stream. What matters the most is like the content you're providing to people. So for example, you know, if you really like, in this case, our beer ambassador, if he really likes beer, you know, why not create a community around that and incorporate a live streaming component into that? Or, you know, if you're into Photoshop, for example, I know we've got a gentleman who was briefly here with us today. He teaches Photoshop courses via StreamYard. So, you know, there's you know, and then you've got Sty, who was doing, what was he talking about? Like specifically like campfire stories. I mean, like he was taking an element that doesn't really exist because people can't really get together as much right now, and he was able to create, you know, what sounds like a really fun stream. I mean, so do what is what interests you. So remember, hashtag Love StreamYard, and then I'm going to let Leticia pick the winner. So turn it over to you, Leticia.
I have Chlorine Mitchell. She's the winner of the cup.
Fantastic, Chlorine. So do me a favor. I'm gonna put my Facebook link in there. So what I want you to do is just shoot me a Facebook message. And then what I'm gonna do is so shoot me a Facebook message, and I will I'll get that shipped out to you. So just get your information, and then we'll make sure that gets out to you.
Yes.
You know, and just quick point, by the way, to what you know, Melanie was talking about, that mic she was using, 240 Canadian dollars for the Elgato Wave 3. I think like in the US, let me see what the price is real quick. Actually a good price. I mean, it's $140 or sorry, $140. So it's a good mic, very good mic for what it is. So, but congrats, Chlorine, for winning our giveaway. Do you have anything else you want to say, Leticia?
This was a great show. It really, really was. As every week we learn something brand spanking new. And it's about, you know, guys, if you haven't started your live stream shows yet, you know, get started, come up with a plan, get started, come back to these calls and ask your questions. And we're always here to make your live. That's what it's about, increasing your live stream experience. But yes, thank you guys, all of y'all who showed up and asked questions. Thank y'all for asking questions and answering questions in the comments. We so appreciate you.
Thank you very much for tuning in.
I did have a wheel of names, but my phone died, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way. Demetrius was asking. Dime bag. Sorry,
what we'll do, by the way, we'll also again, I mean, it's all about growing the process. So what we'll do, Leticia, you know, after this, maybe you and I'll we'll chat about how can we do the giveaway differently. For example, we've got all sorts of options. But again, we're going to do. Did you freeze? Still there. Good. Okay. So
I thought you froze.
Leticia's going to join us next Thursday.
Yes.
But yeah, we're gonna do this next Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna do this next Saturday. Again, bring your questions about your live streams. Tell us what your live stream's about. You know, if you have a challenge that you run into, and between now and then, you know, I want to challenge you, and that challenge is look at your live stream. Like, for example, if you look at your numbers and they're, you know, if you're getting no one viewing that, we need to look at your process. So how do we improve your process? You know, is it, as we mentioned at the beginning, are you doing things to promote your show beforehand? Are you leveraging an email list, or do you even have an email list? You know, if you don't have an email list, let's talk about that. You know, how to set up an email list. How do I incorporate an email list into my live stream? So, but again, I want to thank everyone for joining. And we will see you all next Saturday, 12 a.m. Eastern, or sorry, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, here on the StreamYard YouTube channel, and we're also streaming in the StreamYard Facebook group. And then just one other quick point: don't miss out on there's a town hall that our co-founders Gage and Dan do every single Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where they basically they'll take your feature requests. So if you've got feature requests, you can join them there. In addition to that, they also talk about any updates or recent developments that we've had with the product. So it's a quick 30-minute call. It's a very quick 30-minute call, but join that as well. So, but I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and we will see you all next Saturday. Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone.